Congratulations, you finally made it to 4 p.m. You know what that means. Happy hour. It's time to kick back, relax, and dive into the world of sports with the Young and Norvell Show. Whether you're catching up on the latest You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent Austen Show.
It's interesting you start with this, Kim. Dealer's Choice today on the show. By the way, why don't you get down to Best Bet Jax, Best Bet St. Augustine, Best Bet Orange Park. Speaking of dealing, I just retweeted some of the promotions they have going on. But with the Dealer's Choice, you've got the Jags schedule, and I actually was going to start the show with something not really schedule-related as much as surprise years. So what would be the surprise win on this schedule for anyone?
Chiefs.
Is it the Chiefs at home more than the Bengals on the road?
Yeah.
More than the 49ers on the road?
49ers just 1B, in my opinion.
I think there's another one on there, too, with the Broncos that could be in play.
I was just going to say Denver, where that's
in December, snow, right? Like,
I think that's a different level, though, than the other two.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, Chiefs, I know Chiefs jump out, but again, Monday night at home gives you a little bit of it closes the gap, it feels like, on the advantage there. The Bengals, the only thing that closes the gap on that is we know they stink early in the year.
Well, you could also beat Cincinnati. Not the greatest team to ever play. Not that the Chiefs are the greatest team to ever play, but they figure out how to win every game.
They do. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you start from a point of, okay, you're not beating the Chiefs. It's just like, how close is it going to be?
Yeah, they'll beat you 1-0 if they can figure that part out.
Yeah. 49ers I really do think is a tough game, because if you just look at the trend, well, the trend is they've been good for the last handful of years, even if they weren't last year. The other part of the trend is anytime Shanahan has played against the Jags, it seems like he just schools them. Mm-hmm. Even when the Jags in 2017 with that defense were really good, they thumped them.
Yeah, they did.
Was he there at that time, though? Now that I think back on it, maybe he wasn't. Has he been there that long?
Who would it have been?
I don't know.
I was at that game.
But either way, then the West Coast factors in all of that. So it doesn't. So I guess they have four options: Bengals, 49ers, Chiefs, and Broncos.
Yeah.
I might put the 49ers even higher than the Chiefs, which is weird because they're coming off like a 5 or 6 win season or a 4 win.
He started in 17.
He started 17. He's really, I mean, maybe that's something we'll do as we get closer to that game, but you look at the numbers Shanahan, I think, has put up against the Jags, and I know it's different defensive coordinators and everything else. It feels like we can't figure it out in Jacksonville. So, anyway, that's how we kind of get going with the show. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz, that's the voice of Casey Kurtz. Austin Lane will join us a little bit later. Kim's Corner is here, already in the mud. Doing a good job, Kim. Casey, too. Casey might have saved the show today. He'll tell me about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
We tried to start the Young and Norvell show today. A little early. People were like, what the heck? We got canceled.
Did anybody catch that? That was pretty wild.
But Jacksonville Rays, we're really still rooting for this. That baseball story was about a day long.
Yeah, what happened to that?
It went away.
Did they buy him?
See you later.
Did they do it?
Thing's gone. But I think he's noticing my shirt, maybe. A little shrimp shirt today.
Shrimp would be upset.
I probably need a new shrimp shirt.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's actually starting to wear out. But I also have had like the same 2 shrimp shirts for, how long have they been the shrimp? 5 years, 6 years?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so same ones. I probably need a couple of new ones. But anyway, I'll get into the Jags thing in just a moment. I just saw something else that that I did not know. Noah Syndergaard is still playing baseball.
Yeah.
Did not realize that. I just saw his name. I was like, well, that's odd.
Yeah, he's one of the...
He signed him to a minor league deal.
Who signed him?
No.
He's one of the most interesting, like, what happened to that guy? Because, like, he was really good and then just couldn't get anybody out. So it was decent for the Mets for a little bit, and then he's been all over. He was in Angels and all these other various places. They called him Thor when he was with the Mets, but...
White Sox. To a minor league deal. I mean, if you're pitching in the minor leagues with the White Sox, like...
Yeah. He's going to give that thing 3 starts, and if he's not in the majors, he's quitting.
You know, I think last night I was watching the Red Sox game. I didn't even actually see how it ended. You knew how it ended?
No, went to bed.
Yeah, me too.
Trevor Story, though.
Angels lost. Angels won 9-5.
Angels are better. Boy, that Red Sox lineup, boy, I tell you what. Who are those people?
I know. They're kind of fun to watch, though.
Are they?
Well, I think they've got some...
I was watching for the Angels.
There's some interesting... It's an interesting lineup, and they got all their young guys playing. Now, Roman Anthony's been terrible to start, but and he had bases loaded, 1 out, struck out on like 3. Like, it looked like I was hitting.
He got outclassed, yeah.
Yeah.
I was still watching.
And so you were watching at that point.
But, like, they started the season, their lineup was not in this order, but Devers and Bregman and Casas and Christian Campbell and all these guys, and now it's Abraham Toro, David Hamilton, Rami Gonzalez. Who are these people?
Yeah. And by the way, Durant, people wonder if he'll still be there.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Or not.
Why would you move on from him? He's your best player.
More bad base running in the big leagues last night, but the bigger story was...
That was terrible.
Walker Buehler.
It's terrible.
Been terrible last 2 starts. He walked 7 guys and hit 2 more yesterday. Yeah, that's amazing. You can actually get to that point where the guy they don't take you out.
That first inning was really rough.
But I guess going back to Syndergaard a little bit, is you lose it. Sometimes as a pitcher, you just lose it. And you can't find it, or they have figured you out, or you're tipping pitches or something. Well, right now for Walker Buehler.
Well, the Walker Buehler thing was interesting because if you go back to his stats for last year, he didn't play a full season last year. But if you go to his regular season stats, he was awful. His ERA is like 8. He went to the World Series and was absolutely dominant. That's why they signed him. He goes into this year and was the same as he was last year. Like, good for him. Like, he got the bag, but like, Red Sox, what are we doing?
Yeah,
it's not my problem. Love it, but...
Hey, today on the show, when Austin joins us, we wait for Austin to talk about the bees, and we will. The killer bees.
They're back?
They are back.
That's
so a little bit of bee talk. We might need some time for that. I got a thought on the Oklahoma City Thunder that we left the show with yesterday. Are they just kind of a fun champion? Like, I just don't think we find that often. It's like you don't like the fact that the Florida Panthers won. Tampa Bay Lightning fans won't. I don't think Florida evokes a lot of emotion out of people in general in terms of the hockey team. But I think when the Eagles win, a lot of people either like it, like Kim, or a lot of people are like, hate it, right? And so if the Red Sox were to win, the Yankees were to, you name it. Usually we have emotions tied to this. I honestly don't know who the Oklahoma City Thunder rival is, if they have one. So I don't even know what fan base outside of Indiana right now would be mad at Oklahoma City winning.
Dallas, maybe?
Maybe. I also don't think they have a guy like a Durant or a Westbrook or somebody that you can hate, like, or not like. That's polarizing. You don't even know these guys, half of them.
Lou Dort. Real hateable.
But, I mean, really the guy that's been around and bounced around and maybe different fan bases would feel a certain way is Caruso, but he's not a big enough guy to really feel a certain way. So I just think that makes him a very unique team because I'll give you an example. Like Florida, again, the Panthers, they win. Lightning fans won't like it. Obviously, Edmonton fans won't like it. But a lot of people don't like Marchand.
Hate him.
Right?
The rat.
So there's reason not to like him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there are reasons not to like the fact that Oklahoma City is an NBA champ, and I think that's pretty rare in sports, is my point.
Maybe the Seattle people are upset because that's their team.
They might even be over that by now.
I would think.
They have like 15 new teams since then.
It's been
new
so
stadiums.
Long ago. Yeah, that's fair. Like, yeah, no. I mean, SGA, I think, is super likable.
Yeah, very.
And that's, I think, rare in terms of your best player being likable on that level. And all their guys are so young, man. Like, I can see people not liking Chet Holmgren, but not done anything. I could just see him like rubbing you the wrong way or something because the commercials or something like that.
Yeah.
But You remember when they played that commercial every single break a couple years ago? That was terrible. And what's interesting, though, is I think if Indiana wins, I think a lot of people could dislike Halliburton.
I agree with that. I think they would be way more, not way more polarizing, but even me, in my mind.
I haven't seen one negative comment about Oklahoma City.
Even Reggie Miller, being a fan, would rub people the wrong way. Indiana has this, there's such a toughness about the way you think they play ball, and I thought that came true this year. Mm-hmm. But really, if you go all the way back to the last time they were in it, there was that swagger, they've had the Ron Artest of the world. They're just they're not a feel-good
not really.
organization. They're more like the Detroit Pistons, the way you would view them, even though that was a long time ago. Right? There's no... I just think from the outside looking in, that's what I feel, at least. Maybe that's just me, the old NBA.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you. I think there would also be people with Halliburton,
I could see how you could,
or not, his dad, that whole thing, right? So it's really the people around Indiana.
I could see how you dislike the Pacers, but truly, I don't think Oklahoma City gives you anything to pick at. They're kind of in the middle of nowhere, just kind of doing their thing, hooping. Their young players have played well. The only veteran they brought in, to your point, is Caruso, and I don't think anybody's standing in the gap. I hate Alex Caruso, so no, it is interesting because I don't think you, to your point, when's the last time somebody won that you felt like there was any sport?
I'll give you two that come to mind, and I hadn't really thought too much about it, but I'll give you two that come to mind, but I think one I'm not right on.
Okay.
And two remind me, the Royals won the World Series.
The Royals won.
15. Something like that, right? That's one. What was there not to like about the Kansas City Royals winning? It never a factor.
I bet the Mets fans were upset.
Again, that's okay.
Yeah.
That opposition is going to be met. But
there wasn't.
Heck, I don't even think the Mets really can hate.
No.
We know Dan's a big Mets fan. I don't think he was I can't stand the Kansas City Royals. I don't think anybody says that.
And real quick, just that team, I'm thinking back to it, their best players, Alex Gordon, they drafted. Hosmer, they drafted. Perez, they signed and brought up. They brought in a Ben Zobrist, but nobody hates Ben Zobrist.
Who's first base?
Hosmer.
Great series. Oh, that was Hosmer.
Yeah. Johnny Cueto was on that team, but not really hateable. So yeah, I'm with you there. Wade Davis, they traded for, but nobody really.
Yeah, man, that's a pretty likable team.
Yeah.
And hey, good for. It's almost good for them.
Yeah, right. Kind of. It's okay, so random.
Yeah.
They're just kind of out there playing baseball.
And I think the other one that comes to mind for me, and this is I don't know if this is exactly when they won, or maybe it's a little bit earlier because I don't know the time where the Richard Sherman stuff took place. But Seattle was kind of a cool champ. They were new kids on the block.
Yeah.
They were young. It was unsuspected. I think now they might have been more cute when they made it to the playoffs in a losing record, because I think that's what kind of started that run. But I can't remember the timing of the whole Richard Sherman thing, because then that would have polarized them a bit, right? That would have been, because they had a bunch of swagger to them. People wouldn't like that. But again, who hates the Seattle Seahawks? Even in the West, you're going to
Marshawn Lynch,
hate the Rams and the Niners, and you want to hate the Cardinals probably either. I don't know how in the AFC West, I think those rivalries are deep. Mm-hmm. I think it's the Raiders and the Broncos, and then the Chiefs now, and obviously the Chargers are whatever in that. But I do feel in the West, the rivalries don't seem as deep. The San Francisco 49ers have more of a rivalry with the Dallas Cowboys over their history than they do with any of those teams, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that comes to mind. It's not as good a one because, again, Sherman and those guys could rub you a certain way.
It's close. Now, Russell Wilson, obviously people think differently about him than they did then. But then I would agree. Marshawn Lynch, I think, is a question. How did people feel about him overall? I think most people liked him, but what he did with the media and all that stuff, I could see people not liking him.
More people started to like him almost as it went along.
Correct.
Because you didn't understand him at first. And when we don't understand people, we don't like them.
That's fair.
They're kind of all right, what's going on? Almost there was a siding with the media, this guy's not talking. What the hell? Mm-hmm. But I think that morphed. And the Skittles helped.
Yeah.
Things like that started to help. He became kind of a very interesting cat.
Who did they beat the first, that time?
They lost to Denver big to Manning.
No, they didn't.
No, they lost to Patriots. I think they beat Denver.
Denver went back-to-back? They definitely lost to the Patriots.
No, I think they lost to the Patriots, my bad. I think they beat Denver then. Because I think Denver did go back-to-back.
Huh. I don't remember that.
I think I was there. Was that the New York one? Yeah, they crushed them. I think that was in New York. Let me just double check.
Was that Osweiler? Or did Peyton play
for Denver? I thought it was like a bad Peyton. I thought it was the neck Peyton.
I thought Osweiler
won. Because when Peyton and Denver won, it was like they were high flying, right?
It was good Peyton.
Yeah, but then he had the neck. He was hanging on. It might have been like his last game.
And you were there potentially.
Well, I think that was the New York Super Bowl I was there for. But I mean, I was also. I got to double check there for some of the Super Bowls we started. Like I went to the week and not the game.
Yeah.
So then I get confused. But that, I believe, was the New York Super Bowl, which I thought was a great Super Bowl. You know, the one thing I noticed about that Super Bowl is that the Seattle fans really showed up. And usually at a Super Bowl, it's very corporate, so you don't feel the fans. Like, it's really, you just don't. But but in that Super Bowl in particular, I remember it was like you could hear the Seattle fans. Now, they ended up thumping them, right? So you could really hear them the whole time. They kind of knew they were going to win. But there was an element of that I thought was pretty cool because that was the first time I remember really saying that was a big fan base.
It was indeed at MetLife.
That was MetLife.
43-8.
Yeah, they crushed it.
Then they went back-to-back and lost.
To the Patriots. Where was that? Arizona, maybe?
Yes. And then Denver went the next year. So Denver went, missed, went. Seattle went.
Okay, so they didn't beat Peyton then. Seattle must not have. Peyton wasn't there for 3 years, was he? Or do I feel like he was just there for 2?
Denver didn't go to the Super Bowl without Peyton. Let's see.
Oh, then it must have been him, yeah.
43-8. Boy, oh boy. What a game. Hold on. Come on, Wikipedia. Get it together. Percy Harvin scored in that game. How about that? Yeah. Goodness. Starting lineups. Here we go. Now we're talking. Peyton Manning.
So he did play. Boy, they just got blasted.
Yeah.
I had that kind of backwards. I figured it was good Peyton. So it was 2015 or something that Peyton was really good? That team was
yes.
That team was unstoppable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this was the 13 season, so that would have been the 15 season.
Okay. So 13 season, they beat Denver. 14, they lose to the Patriots. 15, the Broncos.
Win.
Who'd they beat? Because they rolled somebody, didn't they?
Carolina.
Oh, that was Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty interesting. I think Seattle at that time was kind of cool. I felt, well, I know they were cool, but I also feel like they were likable. There wasn't anything really to hate on.
Known Jacksonville Jaguar Julius Thomas on that Broncos team.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Oh, they set all sorts of records.
Yeah.
Like that offense was incredible, right? Demarius Thomas.
Known Jacksonville Jaguar Malik Jackson.
Well, Malik had a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
That was the one they won. I'm looking at the one they lost.
Yeah. Oh, that would have made sense. I could have done it backwards because he came to Jacksonville in 2016 off the fumble return touchdown. Now it all comes back to me. It's all one big day to me.
My guy DRC was on that team.
Rogers Cromartie. Take care of all the kids.
Shout out Bradenton. Nope, wrong one.
Oh, wrong one?
He has a lot of kids, but not the not that one.
You see, Diggs is now in that category? There's a lot of talk Diggs has
really
7 kids with.
I didn't know that.
Must be a cornerback thing.
How about that?
All right, so hey, will the Jags, if they ever win, will they be a cute, likable Oklahoma City?
Probably not.
You don't think so?
In this current, if this core is the team that wins, no.
Why do you say that?
I think Travis Hunter can be polarizing.
Really?
Once we get farther along, we don't know what that's going to look like yet, but I think it would be. I don't think it'd be super difficult to be like, oh yeah, well, quarterback makes this, and they have Travis Hunter dancing, and I could see people unliking it or disliking it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think if the Jags were to win, they'd be kind of a darling. You know, that feeling. And I'm not even sure Oklahoma City feels like a darling to me, but that's just because I don't pay attention. I don't watch it all in the NBA. I think the Jags could be, especially in the AFC, where people are tired of the Chiefs. I don't think they're tired of the Bills or the Ravens, but still, there's been a little bit of somewhat fatigue on those teams, right? I mean, they're always being talked about. And I do think people look at the Jags, and you have two ways to look at it. It's yeah, whatever, the Jags. Or, hey, that's kind of cool. And I think in 17 they had a little bit of this because they were going after the mighty Patriots too. So that helped because they were trying to take down Tom and Bill and that. So I think they did actually have that darling to them.
Then they did, yeah.
And I think they could still, because I do think people like Trevor. I don't think there's anything that unlikable about the Jags right now.
What's crazy is that team in 17 wasn't probably from the outside wasn't the most likable. If they would have just beat the Patriots.
Oh no, you're right.
What Super Bowl was that? Was that Falcons for the Patriots?
No, Eagles, Minnesota. Yeah,
that would have been interesting because like Philly's not super likable to your earlier point. So
but they were kind of a cute story too,
because
of the Foles thing.
Because
even for Philly, they were kind of at a that there was like, that's a cool story.
Because the whole Jalen Ramsey defense thing, I could see people being unlikable if you got to that point. Not against Brady. I think you're always going to be likable against that.
But the point there is people didn't know enough about Jacksonville to know all that.
No, but in 2 weeks they might have.
They might have found out. Yeah. That would have been a pretty interesting way to look at it. Could they have built more angst and haters in that 2 weeks?
Well, I'm sure that Jalen clip would have got played around.
Oh, yeah. But some people like that. Yeah,
I liked it. But I think I could see the olds not being too thrilled about that.
Anyway, here's how I got. Kilkenny really wants the show for a couple weeks. It ain't happening, Kilkenny. We'll have stuff on. Just go to actionsportsshacks.com. You'll have plenty to watch.
It ain't happening.
Brent Austen Show, Casey Kurtz, Kim's Corner here today. And so here's my thought. We're taping some things yesterday for our Storyteller show and also our Welcome to Danville segment, some summer series that we've had. And we brought
That's
this
better
up.
than the show anyway, by the way.
Yeah, that's
just going back to that.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
You'd rather watch that stuff.
You're gonna like it. Yeah, than a July 3rd show of the Brent. Probably. Hopefully not like a September 12th show of the Brent Austen Show. But
depends on if they lose to Carolina.
Yeah, that's true too. Anyway, we talked about the 4 times that the Jags almost did it. Right, 96, 99, 2017, 2022, and I was just thinking about a little bit more this morning.
22 is kind of a stretch, but okay.
Well, I mean, those were nice runs, right? I mean,
nice runs. They didn't almost do it.
Yeah, I would say those are big runs in the history of the Jags. Yeah. Let's just say that.
No, I'm not arguing that part.
And there are other ones like obviously you can get to that divisional round in other years, but I think those stand out, at least to us covering it, and that's the way we were kind of talking about it. But I think what's interesting about it is 96 and 22 was so out of the blue. And quite frankly, 17 was somewhat out of the blue.
Definitely.
Because they'd won 3 games the year prior.
They're terrible.
And they were about to have a mutiny in the locker room coming out of training camp because Marone and Coughlin had put them through it.
Right.
And so it's just So I guess like the trend for the Jags in their time, when they do win, you don't suspect it. And now listen, there are plenty of times where it's been unsuspecting and they haven't won. Okay, so
about 30.
There are plenty of those too.
Yeah,
and there are very few times where it's been, hey, this might be something, and they actually deliver. That would have been 99. Like 99, they were supposed to be good. There was thought they were good. They had built something. They looked good on paper, and they still think they're the best team in the league, even though they lost 3 times to the Titans.
Probably compare that one to, well, not how it ended, but to 23. They thought they were going to be good. They were good for
23
a minute.
And 23 is probably more like
99.
99. 2018 was supposed to be like 99. Flopped after the first month.
Oh, yeah, they beat New England.
3-1, right out of the gates. Looking good, too, by the way.
They got hurt, right?
And they got banged up.
They were pretty beat up.
They went and turned the ball over against Kansas City and then Dallas, and then they got hurt on top of all that. So that was it. It was over. But your point of 23 was 8-3, Monday Night Football.
They had died.
Yeah,
it was happening.
Top seed. All that. So again, like they've been in, they just haven't handled that. I call it not handling prosperity. I don't think they know how to handle prosperity. This is an organization that when they win, they come out of nowhere. Like when they've won big or we have really good seasons in Jacksonville, it's out of nowhere. And well, I guess that is a little bit of a, could it happen this year? Do they have some of the recipe to be out of nowhere? They have talent.
They do have talent.
I continue to say they have all these metrics that just don't make sense last year. They don't have the hardest schedule of all time.
They do not.
So could we be looking at a situation where, hey, keep in the back of your mind, this could be one of those unsuspecting seasons?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
I just,
But again, you would have said that in 96,
I would
in
have.
2017, and in 2022.
Absolutely.
So that's the point of this story. I'm not asking you to get on board and buy into it, but just keep it in the back of your mind, June 24th.
Sure, it could happen.
This has some ingredients where it could happen.
The aliens could also roll up. I don't know. I agree with you that they have talent, obviously, because when you draft in the top of the draft multiple times in years in a row, you tend to acquire some talent, or at least you should. I think it'll just be tough with everybody, for the most part, being in their first. Actually, I will say everybody being in the first year, because Trevor Lawrence in the offense, first year in the offense, Liam Cohen, first year as the head coach, the whole story that you talk about every day. I just think that'll be tough, right? I do think they have talent. I do think they will play. I don't know if better than expected is the right word, but I don't think there'll be the same old Jags, but I don't think they'll be 17 or 22 Jags. Be wrong.
I get the thought. I'm trying to think of right now. 96, there were no ingredients. And I wasn't here for it, but I think I know enough. When you're in year 2, there were no ingredients to be like, oh, wait, this team could really pop. It just didn't happen. 17, you really thought, if you really put your mind back there, it's like Gus gets fired, 3-win seasons, but there's talent. Jalen's there. Malik Jackson does come over in 16. What else they have there? They've got the
You're saying
Telvins
16? What did they have?
In 16, when they didn't win.
When they were bad, yeah. So, yeah, they
their
had
defense
Telvin,
started to play well, better. I think it was ranked higher than we would
Dante Fowler
think, right? And you these guys have some talent, man. There's definitely an accumulation of some talent. Now, you wondered about Bortles. You wondered about their offensive line. I think at that point you're thinking Allen Robinson, right?
Yeah,
Hearns, those guys. You're like, wait, I can buy into some of this. And then they go get, obviously, the free agents you just don't know about with Calais and A.J. Boye, but they also get Fournette, and they have
Barry Church, dog. What you mean?
And they have the
love Barry Church,
and they have the regime change. Yeah, the regime change. That usually what I look at, it's like a defibrillator sometimes, man. It's just like boom, it jumpstarts you. And they got all that, and all that meant, wow, look what it turned into.
I guess they would have had Jan too.
And Jan 22. I think the same thing. You could tell the ingredients. First of all, you got Trevor. You get rid of Urban. You get a Super Bowl winning coach in, and also you go spend money. That's like, wait a minute, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, and I know there were some doubts, but there's also those guys could play ball a bit. This isn't like this ragtag group out of nowhere that has no resume. And I think right now, if you look at the Jaguars, again, we do this, you have 5 players on your team. A lot of teams would take to build around. Ryan Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, I think Trevor Lawrence is in this category still. Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. You take those 5 guys across the board, you take GMs across the league, and they'd be like, okay, if I can start with that, I'll sign me up. And
I would also throw Tyson Campbell in there.
Throw Tyson
if he's healthy. If bro would just play.
And I think there was a lot of those guys, too. I think there are a lot like, hey, Travis Etienne, not bad. Maybe a Tank Bigsby. Maybe a Tyson Campbell. Foye Oluokun fits this category, right? You have play, and now you start adding a Jordan Lewis. So, again, ingredients here, the jumpstart defibrillator of the organization with a new regime. I think it happened in 17 and it happened in 22. We've got a formula that's pretty similar to those 2 years here in 25. Similar. So it wouldn't be stunning, is the point.
They did.
And you're right. They did lose Allen Robinson week 1, not like week 1, like play 1 or play 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Play 1 or play 2 against Houston. I can't remember if it was the first or second one.
Yeah,
it was definitely his first play, as a catch.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was first play of the game or second play of the game. But anyway, I just, as we're talking about some of these things and you reminisce and you're thinking about it, like, wait a minute. Now, what's in common? This has some of that. to me. And I'm not predicting it. I just feel like we can go back and see, oh, wait a minute, this isn't like absurdly impossible. And they play in a division, much like 17 and 22, that's gettable. Mm-hmm. You don't have a dominant team.
Do you, just real quick, you haven't thought about it, do you think they are more talented in 17 or right now? Overall, I know they're more talented on defense.
That's a really good question. I think right now.
I do too.
I think right now. Now, I will say this. The reason why, here's why I hesitated. Because in real time, I thought Allen Robinson was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I was actually a bigger fan of Marquise Lee than others.
Right.
And Hearns had surprised, right?
Fournette.
I didn't know anything about Fournette too much, but now, like, once you saw him go and you're like, okay, you knew there was a top 5 pick. So you get excited about it. He was going to make an impact, even like you could say about Hunter. He's going to make an immediate impact.
For sure.
From that position. And you're right, the defense now, but again, let's be honest with the defense. We knew they had some players, but we didn't know they would turn out like that.
Yeah, on what'd you say, June 24th of that year, you didn't know Calais was going to be that guy.
He had been a 5 to 9 sack guy in his career. He ended up with like 14 and a half.
Yeah.
That was you can definitely buy into both Trayvon and Josh having that kind of year, way more given the resume right now than you would have with Calais. Mm-hmm. So, and even with Jan was about an 8-sack guy, I think, and ended up being that for his career. So, yeah, I would say right now I think they're way more talented. Well, I don't know, way, but I think I'm not good with these handles, so I won't even say. The latest comment, the offense is way better than 2017. I don't think I'll see a defense as good as 2017 Jags again in my life. I think that's a fair comment.
Yeah.
That is going to be a tough one to live up to. The offense, not so much.
No.
The offense, again, Trevor alone, from a talent standpoint, puts you up there. Brian Thomas Jr., people are talking about as a top 5 to 10 receiver in the league potentially, which I think might be a little overdone, but that's the way they're talking.
And he hasn't played a game yet, but Travis Hunter may be one of the most gifted players in the league.
Might be.
I don't know that might not count for any wins at all, but skill set wise.
We'll ask Austin this a little bit later, but answer your own question. Do you think so? More talented now or 17?
I think so now. Crazy, huh?
Who did the Jags have kicking field goals in 17? Because
Lambeau, right?
He didn't go all the way back to that. Who was kicking for the Jags at that time? Like that was Scobie gone? But
it had to be Lambeau.
No,
I just googled it.
That Chargers game wasn't 17?
Yeah.
No, that was 22.
Oh, right.
And my point of this is the Jags have like elite special. They think they have an elite special teams group. Like they think this dude can be one of the best kickers in the league in Cam Little, and Logan Cook is an elite player from that position. So even going up, I'm trying to just go up and down the list here.
It was Lambeau.
Lambeau was 17. Did he just come over in 17?
Yeah.
Wow. He came over and said that long ago because he had joined them like midstream, right? He had been dumped by the Chargers.
Yeah.
That was the whole, we were talking about the soccer story and everything else. Yeah. I didn't, gosh, I
that Chargers game was 17, you bum.
Well, that Chargers game.
Where he goes sliding, the game-winning field goal against his old team? Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Where he goes sliding across
when you say the Chargers game, I thought you were talking about the playoffs.
No!
Oh, you're right. Lambeau hits the big one against Pittsburgh. I know that. I actually think it's the most underrated play of the postseason.
Man, I said Lambeau twice. You'd like talk me out of it. I knew damn well it was Lambeau.
I didn't feel like Lambeau was, that's 8 years ago he was part of this thing. Had just come over that year and had a heck of a year. He had an elite year. I think he missed one field goal.
It's a good trivia question. Who was the kicker in 17 and got kicked by Urban Meyer? Allegedly. Allegedly.
Total allegedly. Yeah, Hemby's Verner's right? Boye Ramsey won the best. They turned into, again, you wouldn't predict
didn't know
it
Boye right now.
Had no idea.
You knew
but
Jalen
turned
right
into. So here are the things that defense did threefold that you couldn't have predicted. The sacks were incredibly high, 50 plus. The turnovers were incredibly nuts. Not just turnovers, but scoring points. I think Daniel Griffiths did this with us last week in one of his writings about field position, where I think the Jags last year started like 4 possessions or 6 possessions in opponent territory.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, that defense in 17 scored 4 or 6 times.
Yeah, they did.
So, like that was, and you're right, that cornerback duo really changed the dynamic. Like
and
it
Barry
shut
Church.
people down. Barry Church was good too.
I love Barry Church.
All
Who's
right,
the other safety? Oh, Gibson.
Another good player.
Damn, the defense was in something.
What's crazy is they all combined to have some of their best years. A.J. Boye would never have as good a year as that.
Oh, for sure.
Gibson had a very nice year. He's
Barry
had a lot of
Church.
good years. Church had one of his best years.
I mean,
Telvin Smith had his best year. Calais had his best year. I mean, they all really had like their best years.
Yeah.
All at the same time. That's a hard thing to do. If the Jags can have 6-7 players have their best year this year, well, you're going to win games.
Yeah, that's where I think the talent part comes in. Like if the guys we just mentioned goof around and all have career years, like Jags win 13 games.
That'd be a lot of wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's take a time out. Brent Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. We will talk linebackers today about that position group. I think it's probably an under-the-radar one. Is it a good one? Like, are the Jags linebackers good? We know one of them is. But what about the rest? Plus, we're going to highlight some charities on the show this week. And at 11 o'clock, we'll have the folks from 4th and Gold on the show as well at the studio and tell all the good work they are doing. Everbank Stadium, look at all that construction around the field now. Looks ready to go as we start inching toward an August 9th game against the Pittsburgh Steelers inside Everbank. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
The Fleet continues its summer swing with the Jacksonville Armada men's and women's teams finding success on the pitch so far in 2025. The girls in blue find themselves in the thick of a three-way battle for the Sunshine Conference crown with an undefeated mark at home. They wrap up the schedule with a pair of Friday night showdowns. As for the boys in blue, they remain unbeaten this summer and top the table in their conference, with crucial road games still to come down the stretch against Naples and New Orleans, after a final home game versus FC Florida. All those matches are at Edward Waters University, and you can watch them live on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Connecticut reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with their inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. Located off Atlantic Boulevard, or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
It's fast-paced,
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
high-fly,
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
action-packed, weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks.
I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gonna be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This is the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the Drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Armada home games. So we got one more of them on Friday, by the way, actionsportsjacks.com. And then I think we might have more. I double check, but I think we'll end up doing the postseason games that are at home. And I think the first one would be July 9th. But let's get through this. And the Armada have been really good. They scored a lot of goals, entertaining, and undefeated. The women's team has one more. That one's on the road, so it won't be on the network, but it's been fun with the Jacksonville Armada, and we're producing those games, so kind of the next step for the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Casey's been a big part of that as well.
The women's game will actually be on the stream. The men are on the road. Friday's the women.
Friday's the women.
Trust
That
me.
one's on the stream. The men are on the road. Hey, this goes very good with right now that because with Brooke in that interview, he's like, oh, we're not going to see you at home because she's going to the Youth National. Mm-hmm. It's all come back to me as well. And Real MBB says, how does Brent not know Josh Lambo was a Jaguars kicker in 2017?
That's what I'm saying.
Because I'm old, man.
This
I'm
guy.
old, all right? I'm getting older. I got a lot going on.
You guys put your faith in this guy.
I tell you, I am not that great at remembering that stuff. Like I gotta be reminded. And that's not an old thing. That's really like I've always kind of been that way. I even just told you before, I was like, was I at that Super Bowl or not?
Well, yeah.
Like, usually you remember if you were at a Super Bowl.
That's fair.
Right? But they all kind of morph together in my mind. I don't know if that's just because I'm not too bright. I don't know if that's a problem. I don't know.
Yeah, but like in fairness, you're at the Super Bowl, you're not covering the Jags. Like the Jags was like your whole thing.
Well, I know, but if you go to the Super Bowl, you're like, oh, I can remember exactly where I was, what happened on that play, to me,
I do remember that for the one.
To me, I'm kind of like, they all mix up. We've been to multiple now in Arizona and San Fran and New Orleans. Now, the New York one was different, but again, placing the people and everything else. The Lambeau one I had to be. The funny thing about the Lambeau one in 17 and why I'm crossing over, 17 feels like a long time ago. Lambeau doesn't feel like a long time ago to me.
That's what I'm saying.
And that was really the hard correlation for me there. But what I should know this because what I always say is I actually think the most underrated play of that whole run was Lambeau kicking the field goal against Pittsburgh to go up, I think, 45-35 at the end. Mm-hmm. That was not an easy kick. It was like a 42, 43, 44, something like that in Pittsburgh, which is not an easy place to kick. It's freezing cold.
Yeah, it was cold.
They are like up and down scoring, even though it felt like the Jags dominated the football game. See, Real MBB, I know a lot of these things. I was right there down on the field for this one. I can remember.
Yeah, we were just in a break for 5 minutes and bro was on his computer, so I mean.
That is not true.
He may have the box score up.
I was making coffee. But
it was making coffee.
But I believe that was actually one of the most underrated plays of that whole run.
Yeah.
Much like I believe, and I reference this all the time, when people bring up Miles Jack, which is appropriate to bring up, or 3rd and 18, appropriate to bring up, that I think one of the key plays in that game was the delay of game in the late first half. And the Jags were like right around midfield, 45-yard line, something like that, with the, going in before half with maybe another field goal to get another score. And they completed what I think was a really nice throw from Bortles to Mercedes. I don't think it was an easy one, but I think they let the play go initially, and because of the noise or whatever, they couldn't hear. Well, they had blown the play dead, and it was one of those deals where it's like, when the clock strikes 0 on the delay of game, and a lot of times they don't call it. Well, they called it on them. I thought that was a BS call.
Yeah.
Not that you could always go back and argue. It was like, well, it did hit 0, but so many times they let them get away with that, and they call nobody brings that play up. But in my mind, I remember that play a lot. And it was just one of the multiple things that happened. Now, there were some other plays that I kind of forget, of what happened, like penalties that other people will remember. Yeah. Don't hurt the credibility here at Real MBB.
Hurt the cred.
Yeah. Oh, actually, now I'm seeing he nailed the clincher in Pittsburgh, one of the biggest kicks in team history.
Okay, so
he actually recalls that too. I don't think people talk about that kick. I really don't.
Yeah.
And that was a huge kick in Pittsburgh.
So your play is 2:23 left, 3rd and 7 from the New England 44, Mercedes for 12. So
they're going right to left. It's the far side of the field. I can envision it.
So it definitely would have been a first down, and then delay a game.
And at least a field goal attempt. Yeah. What happens after that?
He got sacked.
We got sacked on the next play, but then they
3rd
punted.
and 12, and then they punted.
Now, do the Patriots come down and kick a field goal or something?
No, they score a touchdown. 6 plays, 85 yards, a minute and 7 seconds.
Okay, so maybe that's what's in my mind, is that if you get the first down there, they don't get the ball back. Right? The Patriots most likely don't get the ball back.
Oh, I remember this now. Barry Church took out Gronk. Unnecessary roughness.
PI. Or no, as unnecessary roughness. Big penalty.
Yeah.
That helped set that up. So that whole series, again, people...
And they got AJ Boye for PI, the next play.
The PI, because I think Hick was talking about that yesterday when we were referring to it.
Yeah.
That way down the field kind of set them up, right, for the score, I think that one
and
did.
Then Cook scored, yeah.
So I believe that play was such a big play. Now, what I don't fully know going back, I don't know if I had my goggles on or whatever, but I don't know how much that how good of a call it was. Was it a beat? Was it a beat or two? Was it clearly a delay of game? But I mean, how many times have we said that over the years? It's a delay game, you're yelling at the TV.
Yeah.
Right? And they don't call it.
Scum.
But they called that one. So
3 penalties on the Jags in a 9-play span. It super impacted the game.
How many? Do you remember? Well, if you still have the box score, how many penalties did they have in the game? Because those were 4 of them.
They had 6 for 98 yards,
and in that chunk, right there in that 2 minutes, they had 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And New England.
Have you gone back and watched that game?
No,
I haven't either.
I don't want to.
Maybe I should go back and watch 2017.
Sounds like you should. There's a game where Josh Lambo kicks a game winner against the Chargers and slides across the field.
Well, when you brought up Chargers, you killed me.
Brent's like, oh, it's Riley Patterson, actually. I know you.
That was Patterson.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I know.
I know that one. Talking about the other one.
If you bring up the Chargers, I go to one game.
Most people do, but I have to imagine somebody knew what I was saying.
Again, the segment of time, this era, he played for Urban, so when he was playing for Urban, I'm like, well, that's in the 20s. He couldn't have played in 17.
Yeah, bro played with Bortles and Trevor.
Yeah, that's wild.
The lone survivor until they got kicked, allegedly.
How is Josh Lambo viewed? Fans love him?
I think so.
I think so, too.
Why not?
But he doesn't seem associated with the team.
He's not
he's still living in Jacksonville.
He's not like Scobie.
No, and I guess my point to that is Scobie feels associated with the team.
Yeah.
Right? Even still. He doesn't do as much with the team anymore as he even one time did, or even come on shows like this. We don't have him on as much because he's living the family life right now. Travel baseball and soccer and all that stuff. But he's so much associated with the team. Lambo had some big moments, kicked very well. And
might have
obviously 17.
Bigger moments than Scobie.
Yet I don't feel like there's a connection, although fans loved him at the time. I'm not trying to say that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And honestly, fans could love him even more if you really depend on how you view the whole Urban thing.
True.
That really, but I don't get this sense.
I would say loved. I would say, what year are we in? 25? I'd say in 2 years when they do the 10-year thing, people give him a pretty good ovation when he's out there on the field.
Yeah, I guess. Are you surprised he's not more connected with the team? Or can he not be because of the situation?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't help. For that specific part of it, yeah. I would say there's that part plays in.
Yeah.
But also, kicker.
Yeah, but around here, kickers have
No, great bump. I'm fine with him.
kickers have been celebrated.
If I saw him in Publix, I'd be like, my man.
I think he's still in town.
Mhm.
I don't know. He was for a while. I think he's still in town. But again, you don't see him out and about. I think I see him once in a while, like on Instagram.
You're on Instagram, huh? You know how to use that?
Not often, not very well, but
But you figure out how to see Josh Lambo stuff. That's good.
it comes across once in a while.
So you follow Josh. Didn't know you.
Do you have to follow Josh to come across?
More
it?
likely than not.
It's not like algorithm thing.
It could be.
Like today, now I'm going to get Josh Lambo everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Like Lambo will be all over my feed.
On this date.
Yeah, that'll be a lot. Hey, I got before we get our charity in here at the top of the hour. Again, we'll have our linebackers coach. I think you're going to really enjoy that conversation. If they can play like he sounds, they're going to be pretty good. That's coming up, our position group. Probably have that at the bottom of the hour. Austin will join us a little bit later on as well. But I want to ask you a baseball question. Cal Raleigh
Yes.
has 32 homers.
Did you see the Bonds graphic? Is that where you're going?
I didn't see the Bonds graphic. I've seen the Johnny Bench stuff and catcher-wise.
The Bonds one is crazy. It's like through the first 70 whatever games, it was Bonds in like a 1. And he's 3 home runs or 4 home runs off Bonds and 2 RBIs off. Bonds hit like 80 or 70 something in the season.
Really?
30. It was like 33 to 38.
Okay, so when this stuff happens, I get suspicious. And I'm not trying to take anything away from him. But I've said this about, like, when you have college baseball home runs. Like the ball, the bats, there's something there. And I don't back away from that. But I don't get one here with Cal Raleigh. I don't understand because I don't watch Seattle. I don't watch him much. He was a good player.
Yeah.
But he's doing things that are insane right now.
Like having 33 home runs?
Any idea why? Is there anything to it?
He's just smacking it, dude.
But was he that kind of prospect to begin with?
No. No, he's been up. He's been good. He's been like a quality player for them. He's hit home runs, but not like this. But, I think Seattle would argue with you that that's like the development, right? Because you could see that he was like a good player. It's not like he was Brady Anderson.
Yeah.
For that. I mean,
yeah.
He's
got some pop.
He hit probably 20-something home runs last year, if not more. But to have this many home runs before the break, not even he's got 2 more weeks. He could have 40 home runs as the starting catcher in the All-Star game because he will be the starting catcher in the All-Star game. There's no doubt about that.
Well, here's the other thing: is he having a better year than even Judge is having?
Yes, for sure. I think.
Can you think I'm trying?
Because he catches
and he catches.
He doesn't. He does DH sometimes. Don't get me wrong, but he's a catcher. Runs out there and catches, leads the league in home runs and RBIs. Second in OPS to Judge. He plays in Seattle.
Again, Judge doing this, unbelievable year. Not really surprising.
Yeah, so Cal Raleigh hit 34 homers, 100 RBIs last year.
But yeah, okay, good. Very good season.
Yeah, he's about to...
Is that his career high?
In both, yes. So he went to his rookie... Or he only played So to his rookie year, 27, 30, 34... And now he has 32 before the break. The part that's, I'll go out of nowhere is the batting average. And the batting average on balls in play, because he was like a 2. Still, even with his 278 average this year, his career average is 227.
He's a 220, 232, 211 guy.
Yeah. So, the average is the part that's shocking.
But he's seriously, outside of RBIs, he's 68 RBIs. He did have a 100 RBI season last year.
Yeah.
He is eclipsing career marks
in June.
Yeah. And he's not a guy that's been injured. He played 119 games, 145 games, 153 games.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we've ever seen, I'm sure we have because I don't like talking in absolutes like that. But what's the comp to this just unbelievable season? who's out of nowhere
Not like
in
this.
basketball, in football, in any sport to be the best player in the league, eclipse all career marks by the halfway point. And then, listen, there's still another part of this. You've got to do it again. You've got to continue to do it to have this incredible, epic season.
Well, yeah.
But just doesn't happen. Like, it's just a rare thing. And you wonder, when I think of...
But he's like a shoo-in for 50 bombs if he stays healthy.
Yeah, if he plays, he's going to hit 50 bombs at least.
It's pretty good.
And not as many guys do that anymore, like in the last couple of years. Like, I know that became a thing, like, hey, it's easy. Everybody, that's not true. Getting to over 40 last year was not easy, which is pretty, it's like they pulled back the ball or something. But, or the pitching's just better. I don't know. Swing and miss is obviously way up, and that's been the case for the last almost decade now. But what he's doing is, it feels just as out of nowhere as you can remember.
Oh, yeah.
Like in sports.
Yeah, like we went, when we went to Arizona for spring, we went to Mariners camp, and it wasn't like, oh, we got to get Cal Raleigh.
Yeah,
You know
watch
what I mean?
this. But I will say this, and in fairness to him, 27, 30, 34 home runs. Like,
Good
the guy's
player.
hit bomb.
Yeah, good player.
He can hit it. So,
But not like that. Because the other thing with Seattle is I don't know if he's their number one prospect, but one of their top prospects is a dude named Harry Ford. He's a catcher.
Okay.
And he's hitting like 380 in AAA. And like the thought was he was going to be their catcher at some point this year. Cal Raleigh's like,
yeah, can't bring him up.
hold on, bro. So this dude's just casually hit 380 in the minors. He's like, yo, let me get some ABs.
And I've lost track of the parks, but I don't think Seattle's like the easiest place to hit homers.
No, not really.
It's not like
It's kind of short and right though, which is good for him.
Yeah.
It's not Yankee Stadium short,
yeah.
but
But it's not a graveyard, I guess.
no.
What's the graveyard now? Like San Fran's tough.
San Fran's tough. The Camden Yards debacle with the moving the fence back and forth,
yeah.
hasn't gone well.
There's really not a true graveyard, I think, anymore in the bigs, but
I mean, depending on which way the wind is blowing at Wrigley.
yeah, I guess that's true too.
Because you hit a
That
fly ball to
factors in.
shortstop that ends up as a home run.
And
or
San
you-
Francisco adds that too,
Yeah.
of course, the win factor, along with a pretty big ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Cal Raleigh, if you haven't caught it, what he's doing, like, I don't really know too much about the guy either. Nobody pays attention to Seattle baseball. They've been okay this year.
Yeah.
But it is an epic season right now. Everybody talk about Judge, Ohtani, all those guys. It's just unreal what he's doing. And I don't have a comp. I just thought it would be an interesting question to try to think about that.
It's
Like,
probably Judge when he first had the first really big year.
first big year.
Because Judge was, I've said this a bunch, Judge was not a top prospect.
Well, not only that, he also was like 27 years old
Yes.
when he started to do that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a late bloomer deal.
Same-
This guy, again, I mean, he's grown up in their organization. He's had 25, 26, 27 years old. He's now 28, which would you consider the prime?
Yeah.
Starting to get into that. But I really am trying to find like for some reason I have in my mind a basketball equivalent of this. Like, where's the guy that all of a sudden, again, you could sit here and say Alex Smith, who was an MVP candidate for the Chiefs 8 years into his career. But the problem with that is Alex Smith was also a number one overall pick. Right. So there was a lot of expectation on him. This one is just, wow. Everybody now will know Cal Raleigh's name by the All-Star break.
Definitely.
We come back. We're taking a look at some charities. Fourth and Gold. We'll tell you what that one's all about. I think you'll learn a little bit more about it. Yeah, Casey will be back a little bit later. Oh, no, you're leaving. That's right. You're going there. That was good. That was good. Actually, he's on his way down the shrimp. I don't even know if Kim knew that, but that's where he's going. We'll talk some linebackers coming up. Austin will join us. And, yeah, Casey is going.
Good. The bus
say
isn't
hi to
there
everybody
yet, so
down
we're
there.
good.
Yeah. Hustle down. We'll be right back. Brent Austen Show. Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient.
By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Save 10% off any water heater plus no trip charge. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
Welcome inside the Armor Guard exterior and gutter helmet showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
All right, looking at a golf shot here from Austin Kim. She played excellent on the weekend at the PGA Championship. There she is. She's from Nice High School, and she just had her best finish ever on tour, and she did it in a major championship, so obviously qualifies for her best finish there. And just to let you know what that means, she had, I think, career earnings over the last couple of years of about $300,000. She had a big payday of about $200,000. Well, she made
close to $1 million with this performance over the weekend. So really elevates her and obviously gives her a bunch of confidence. She's been working on that game and now has full-time status on the LPGA Tour. So congratulations to Austin Kim from Nice High School in St. Augustine on a great performance there. She was down 9 shots on Sunday and actually had a chance on the back. She needed a little bit more help, but at least put some pressure on for the win. Brent Martineau back here on the Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network. A couple of months ago now, I think we told you about a young man and his battle with cancer that he lost and also the efforts that were being made to raise money on his behalf with 4th and Gold. And you remember the Jacksonville Sharks being a part of that as well. And, the person that helped start 4th and Gold, or probably did start 4th and Gold, is with us here on the show as we doing a little bit something different late June. Want to do a bit of a charity spotlight. And so we're spotlighting 4th and Gold, 4thandgold.org. And I know it's somewhat new, so hello to Aaron. And I'm sure so many people know about it and have thanked you for starting it, but there are probably a lot of people with as new as it is don't really know exactly what you guys are doing. So congratulations on getting it off the ground and all you're doing to help childhood cancer. Step up, come up a little closer to that. There you go.
So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. As I mentioned yesterday to you, we started 4th and Gold for my love of football, right? That's what the name comes from. 4th and goal, you're going for the first down, you're going for the touchdown. Well, we're going for the cure of childhood cancer. So if you don't know about it, if you're not in the world of it, you don't know. Childhood cancer research only gets 4% of all federal funding for research. And that means adult cancers get 96%, which is horrific. Our kids are supposed to be the future of our world. And if they are diagnosed with a disease that at the beginning of it, they are already on the losing side of it, we're not doing something right. So in 2020, I lost 2 kids who I was very close with back-to-back from a relapse from their disease. And I was right around the time COVID hit. And I said, I can't take this anymore. I either have to step away from the position that I'm in or I need to do something to change it. And a lot of long hours, a lot of intimidation, working a full-time job, starting a nonprofit's not something that's easily done. And I decided to take the leap of faith. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Alex's Lemonade Stand or St. Baldrick's, but they do childhood cancer research. And before I started the nonprofit, I would host little fundraisers, a cornhole tournament here, a lemonade stand here. I donated to them. But I just knew in my heart I could be the one that did that and, take away the overhead and just be the person right here on the First Coast that does this treatment. So started the nonprofit actually July 8th of 2020, and we fundraised for a couple of years. And in 2022, we were already ready to do our first grant, which is incredible. We funded our first $60,000 grant to a researcher out in California who's doing immunotherapies for acute myeloid leukemia. And it's since just taken off from there. From 2022 to 2025, we've done $476,000 in research, and the one that we did last November is now standard of treatment for leukemia. So people say, what's research? Is it really happening? Why does it take so long? Well, when I started a nurse in 2017, the drug that is now standard of treatment was a trial. And so a lot is changing, and you might not know about it if you're not in it, but we're super thankful to be able to be the people behind that and just see the things that are changing.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. So let me catch on a couple of different things. You said 4%, which is an astonishing number. So you think about cancer research, and 96% goes toward adults. And obviously, I think the numbers are astonishing in adult cancer, right? From 1 every 2 men or 1 every 3 women. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a high number that everybody's going to be touched by it, and we know everybody is touched by it. So not to say there shouldn't be research done and cures, but it is astonishing that it's only 4% for the research on childhood cancer. Is that are the numbers just that far less? Is that how we got to that point? Or?
Yeah, I mean, the National Institute of Health will tell you that childhood cancer is rare, but 1 in 5 kids get diagnosed, 1 in 43 kids a day get diagnosed, and 1 in 5 don't survive that. So to me, that's not rare. We have kids on the First Coast getting diagnosed weekly, and these are my words, but childhood cancer is not profitable. So if children are out in society making money and it's considered rare, then pharmaceutical companies don't want to spend the money and make the drugs. So we need researchers that we are connected with to do that research and come up with different kind of forms of treatment. And that's who we partner with.
It's also going to be pretty rare for you to work in this arena, right? And also start this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one, because you said time-wise is a lot.
Yes.
But that's not how these things are usually born, right? You're already doing a lot in your daily job to help and assist and kind of serve and give back and kind of meet that. Have you run into anybody else? And I'm sure the reception in your work world has been very good. Now you can get people on board with what you're trying to do, but that's got to be pretty rare, you doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know of anybody else, but I'm sure maybe somewhere it's happening. But because I started Fourth and Gold, I'm able to be a better nurse because I know when I'm inside those hospital walls, we are curing kids and we are doing a lot of good things with what we have. But on the outside of there, like, I know that we can do better. I know that the research world can be better and do better and come up with better drugs and treatments and therapies. And Fourth and Gold has honestly made me a better person in general, just, doing so much bigger than ourselves. Before I started this, I didn't know a child with cancer. I didn't grow up and have a friend who had cancer. Once I started reading about it, I just knew I had to just do better, to be better.
It's interesting how I haven't seen any articles on this, and maybe there are articles on this, that this was born in the pandemic because in many respects, it's kind of a good time because you have more time.
Yeah.
People have more time. There are a lot of different things that were born in the pandemic that actually are very positive. I mean, we look at that as a negative thing, but it almost was like perfect timing in a sense, right?
Absolutely.
To be able to devote the amount of time it takes to at least launch this. Otherwise, if you're doing your daily stuff and everything else is going on and the world is ticking the same way and things are moving fast, it probably would have been very hard to get it off the ground.
Oh, absolutely. That was just honestly a perfect timing, a blessing, because, as a nurse, I was at the hospital a lot during COVID, but at the beginning, everybody was scared to go out. Nobody wanted to go to the ER, the hospital, or anything. So there were days that we were slower or I wasn't having to work. And so, it was great timing.
How fast in the research world of things happening already for you guys? You said 2022 to just last year, it becoming from trial to a drug that is used. How fast is that in the research world? Because it seems pretty quick, but we don't know what that landscape is.
Yeah, it depends. So we funded one trial, like I was talking about, a physician out in California, and his project was 2 years long, and that was strictly in the lab, never touched a patient. It was all synthetic stuff. And he had so much success with it on his mouse, on his mouses. And so when he reached back out to us and he's like, I'm ready to start using it on a trial for patients. So that was really quick. It's not always that quick. I know the blinatumomab, which is the immunotherapy that's now standard of treatment, that took about 8 years. So, and then we funded a neuroblastoma project 2 years ago for $100,000. That's still very much so in the works. So it just depends how far along they are when we start the trial, where they're at, what kids that they have that are eligible for the trial, what tissue samples are available. So it varies.
Do you get to kind of follow that process along? Is that how
so
it
we
works?
get quarterly updates usually from the researchers. They tell us what's going on, where they're at, what's been successful, what's not. And then one of the projects that we did at the Mayo Clinic, they actually walked us through the lab and showed us like all their different things that they were doing that we helped fund. So that was really special.
What is it? Is the goal just to keep going here? Just obviously keep raising dollars at different events, which we'll talk about in a moment, or is there a bigger goal? I mean, does this start evolving when you see some success? And obviously, anybody who starts anything, you get ideas, and sometimes the mind wanders quicker than actually you can get the results, right? But are you guys on a pace that you can kind of maintain? Is this kind of what it is, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so I mean, the ultimate goal of Fourth and Gold is just to not exist, right? That means childhood cancer, the treatment's better, kids are fine, you move along. I don't know that we will get there in my lifetime. So the overall goal, I mean, we're growing so quick in a way that I never would have dreamed possible. $500,000 in 3 years really is incredible. So it is evolving very quickly. I just added Nick Furis to our board of directors, and he's, got 1,000,001 ideas for us too. So, I mean, the goal is just to keep growing, keep raising dollars, keep putting on fundraisers, and really just awareness. The most important part of all of this is awareness, and that's why I chose like sports as my platform, because everybody either loves sports, plays sports, can relate to sports, and that's why all our events really revolve around them.
Well, let's talk about some of those events in a moment. I do want to mention, you mentioned Nick Furs from the Jacksonville Sharks. And again, we talked about the late Leo Stevenson and his impact on the Sharks team, but also impact with Fourth and Gold. And there's another event coming up, by the way, on July 9th, 6 to 9 at Dave & Buster's on Salisbury Road. So you can be a part of it. Meet Jacksonville Sharks, special appearances by some NFL guys. There's going to be a silent auction, including a Sharks golf cart that you can win. So a lot of different things going on. Have a fun day, but also for a good cause. And that's the next fundraiser for Leo Stevenson and his family and Fourth and Gold. And that's what you find, right? You end up developing relationships and these,
absolutely.
Not just the kids, but obviously the families and the domino effect of how many lives this thing touches, right?
Absolutely.
And then you guys really focus a lot of your events in the fall, from cornhole to a gala. And are those some of your big fundraising?
Yeah, so we have
things?
5 signature events. We do kickball, so next year will be our 6th annual. Dodgeball will be our 4th annual. We do every September, because it's Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, one of the home Jags games. We get about 50 to 100 volunteers that stand outside the gates, pass out gold ribbons, just, for awareness. And then we do our gala in November. That's definitely our biggest event.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of those. You can check it out, by the way, fourthandgold.org. They have a calendar of events and a little bit more about what the organization is all about. Is that the easiest way to help and donate?
Definitely.
And any time of year, though, right?
Anytime,
not just during these events.
No.
Obviously, those are the heightened awareness times,
Yep.
but you guys are accepting donations all
absolutely.
around. Now you tied in with football, just a big football fan?
Yeah. My dad moved here in 98 and became a Jag season ticket holder, and for better or worse, I hopped on board, and I eat, sleep, and breathe football. I love it. I just think there's so much bigger than the game, and there's so many ways to just tie awareness to different things. And when I was thinking of a name, I wanted the number 4 to stick out, because 4% of all research funding, and gold is the color of childhood cancer awareness. So I just kept thinking, like, how can I contribute 4 and gold? And it honestly just came to me so easy, like fourth and gold, And we work with a lot of local high schools and do September games also. And it's incredible the way I've been able to use it. And now being a partner with the Sharks too.
Yeah, and what do you think about the Sharks? Just came off a big win, by the way, huge win on Saturday night. And what about the Jags? You got some faith in this new regime, or what?
I do, but my friends will tell you I do this every year, and I'm really excited. I think the addition of Travis Hunter and Liam Cohen. I think I'm hopeful, but I always am. So we'll see.
You mentioned you living in that arena, right? That world, that medical world, and it's really big here in Jacksonville, right? I mean, from the various hospitals we have that are world class to even organizations like yours that really try to push research. I don't know how much. There are so many different charity outfits across the country, right? I don't know how common that is, but it does feel like this area, Northeast Florida, really makes a difference. In a lot of whether it's research or medicine or moving things forward.
Yeah, we have a big childhood cancer community, and again, if you're not directly involved, you might not know it. You see, St. Jude's commercials, and you're like, oh, that's sad. Let me change the channel. But we have many families and kids impacted right here on the First Coast, and there's incredible foundations. The J Fund provides financial assistance. Child Cancer Fund does too. Dreams Come True provides dreams. And that's why I really wanted to do something different in the research, because I want to get down to the root. Like, why is this happening? How can we prevent this? How can we get these kids to thrive, not just survive? 95% of survivors have long-term effects from the treatment, and I want that to be better in the future.
I think what's cool about what you just mentioned, you mentioned the other organizations, so they all do something a little bit different, right? So you can coexist all for the same cause.
Yeah, they're all incredible. Our families benefit from each one of them. And, a lot of families, and I think 70% of families lose an income, so the J Fund steps in and really help. That's incredible. And Dreams Come True is able to provide incredible experiences for our kids, and the Child Cancer Fund provides financial assistance also. So we have a great community of nonprofits here that are really focused on this community.
How close do you get to how personal does it kind of become in this landscape? I mean, if you're running a business, things don't get probably super personal, maybe on occasion.
Yeah.
When you're running a nonprofit, the cause and everything you're really all about, and then you really see it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you get to see it up close at some of these events. The impact, I got to believe that there's a lot of emotions that flow in that, but also a lot of motivation every time you see that.
Yeah, it's really special because, childhood cancer is sad. It's a very heavy topic. So that's why our events are focused on fun, right? Like kickball with a bunch of 30 and 40-year-olds. It's funny to watch. It's fun to play in. And
pull some hamstrings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, you just bring a bunch of people who, we have like teams of construction workers and firemen and like who have never been impacted. And then they're playing against a team whose son or daughter had cancer. And it's just bringing two different communities together is just so impactful. And I have people after every single event come up to me and be like, I had no idea. Like my friend asked me to play in this tournament and wow, like here's $1,000 donation. Like, please put this to good use, So I eat, sleep, and breathe it. I'm home, constantly thinking of new ideas. What can I do? How can we better this? How can we get more people involved?
It looks like you got a lot of people involved, though. You got a pretty good team.
Yeah, I have a great team.
And you mentioned, I'm going to finish with this. You mentioned something, by the way, fourthandgoal.org. Just keep pumping that up. Go read more about it. You can read about a lot of these things Aaron's talking about, but also how you can get involved and maybe some of the events for you and your family and be touched by it and help out in the community here in Northeast Florida because these things work. And that's really where I want to end with it. Even going way back in my career, I used to do things at the NICU hospital in Albany, New York. We'd do telethons and you kind of wonder, like you raise a lot of money, and you kind of touched on it earlier, you raise a lot of money for these things, and you see a lot of money, and it's like, hey, people raised X amount of dollars. Yeah. But then you're like, okay, well, then what, right? And I think really what as you get older, as we're kind of growing through this, you realize, like, the medicine has gotten so much better, right? The research actually does work. I think that we are in a world now where if you've been around for a couple of decades, you can actually see now, in your case, even 3 years, but you can see like the actual jumps of what those dollars that for any cause really make a difference. Like, so it's real work being done. And I think that's probably an important part of it as you try to continue to raise money. You have examples, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of it's working.
Yeah, on our website, again, fourthandgoal.org, we have a section that shows you what research projects we fund and what they're doing.
Yeah, that's really cool, right? Like that part, it's got to be easier to share that story.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When you can literally say, hey, look at what.
Yeah, it's really special.
What it just went through. So check it out, fourthandgoal.org. Erin Tracy, she's the founder, had a lot of help as well along the way, but really was her motivation to get it off the ground in 2020. Looks like it's going in a great direction. Yeah. And anything we can do to help out and push out the word and maybe go see you at a couple of these events coming up in September.
Absolutely.
We'll bring our cornhole game for sure.
Yes.
Have a good rest of the summer.
Thank you. You too.
And don't forget, by the way, July 9th, once again, with the Jacksonville Sharks, that's another event that Fourth and Gold will be a part of. And Leo Stevenson, a young man we introduced you to a couple of months ago here on the show, and his family. And you can be a part of that one at Dave & Buster's on July 9th. That's a Wednesday evening coming up in the next couple of weeks. So you can check out more on that as well on Facebook. But go to fourthandgoal.org for more on what Aaron and everybody else is doing for childhood cancer. We'll take a break. Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network. We will talk football. We didn't ask Aaron about the linebacking core of the Jaguars, but we're going to talk about them and hear from the linebackers coach coming up next here on a Tuesday.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with their inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. Located off Atlantic Boulevard, or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
It's fast-paced.
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
High fly.
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
Action-packed. Weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks.
I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the Drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers. And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Will Olive, Mandarin High School. Go Stangs.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oakleaf High School.
Tony Mazzio, Sandwood High School, class of 2002. Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School. Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com. Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet. Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjacks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
All right, we just talked about the Jacksonville Sharks. Sharks coming off that big win. You can see it now, actionsportsjacks.com. We have an article on their win, and attached to that article, you'll be able to see the replay of the game. We condensed it down to about 2 hours. Probably replay it a couple times this week on the network as well. Most likely right around 10 o'clock at night is when we do that. So more on the Jacksonville Sharks each and every day here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Shark Bites Friday and Saturday. And they are on the road this week, so no game on the network, but they then take a week off because of the July 4th weekend, and will be back home July 12th. So go to jacksharks.com for the latest, but they are right in the mix now and have a chance to secure a playoff berth even this week on the road, but they're tracking in the right direction. As we've had Coach on, too, it's like, hey, they're really good at home and not as good on the road. So they got to kind of figure out that part of the puzzle, but getting in the playoffs is the most important thing. And they proved the other night how good they can be. They scored on every offensive possession. So that was pretty darn good stuff with Tyler Huff leading the way. He's been great at quarterback, young man out of Ridgeview High School, who they didn't plan on having him in the early part of the season, but he's taken over and done a very nice job. Brent Martineau and Kim's Corner here today on the show on a Tuesday. Once again, thanks to Aaron for stopping by, telling us a little bit more about 4th and Gold. You can go do the same on fourthandgold.org. Very interesting, complicated conversation, but also what they're doing is really helping in a major way. I was talking to Erin a little bit more, and she was explaining a little more detail, layman's terms, of where this could be in a few years. So we'll continue to follow that and their path, and you can too at fourthandgold.org. And if you have the ability to help out in any way, if you're touched by it all in any way, go to fourthandgold.org, and you can learn more about it and do just that. And maybe we'll talk to them again as we get closer to the Cornhole event coming up in September. Let's get back to some football talk. And we talked about the defensive line of the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday. That was our position group focus. Today it's linebackers for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the Jags are led by Foye Oluokun. We know that. He's become you think about the things that you can count on for the Jacksonville Jaguars of being solid, being, maybe even very good, depending on how you want to characterize it. But Foye Oluokun's been very good. He's been a very good player for the Jags, been a very good player in the NFL. He's, in my opinion, a consistent player. The one thing I say about Foye a lot is I think just naturally, if he can get better play around him, more things that he can trust in front of him on the defensive line or next to him in the linebacking group, he can play even better and faster. And I just think that's a natural deal. You got to trust the people around you, from the coaching staff to the guys up front to the players next to you, whether that's a young guy or not. And I don't think he's always had that while he's been in Jacksonville. I think there are plenty of things to not trust. Even if you want to trust them, there are just some things that you can't based on performance, inconsistency, and other things that maybe we don't even know about. Well, here comes Anthony Campanelli and this staff. They obviously, reinvigorate the meeting rooms, the building, try to accentuate a player like Foye. They have him part of the mix. And now can they get the best out of Foye, but the best out of the other guys? One of the big questions is Devin Lloyd, right? How does he factor in? They go draft Jack Kaiser. Where does Ventrell Miller fit into the fold here in Jacksonville? I mean, everybody outside of Foye is a question mark, really, in the linebacking room for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tem Lakabu is the new linebackers coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Very entertaining conversation a couple weeks ago that we had at Jags headquarters with the new linebackers coach, and we're going to play it right now. You get a little bit more on everything, which starts with Campanelli. He was asked about being around him, and he knows him, and what's he like, and, well, his instant reaction is kind of fun.
Gosh, I don't know if we should say any of those. Maybe behind the scenes, but no, he's one of the most consistent people I know, and he comes from a consistent family. And once he says that you're a friend or he calls you family, he means it 1,000%, and he's got you for life. You know what I mean? I have the same philosophy, so that's why I think and know that he's going to have success here.
As far as your position here, would you say, because I know you obviously mentioned that you're working with Josh, you're working with Trayvon, but you also got the off-ball linebackers. Like, how would you define what your role is on this staff?
I'm the linebackers coach, and we have certain names that are in my room. Some of the names are hybrid guys, and I'm responsible for getting those guys ready. So it's just awesome to be part of a system and plan that allows us to be malleable and be like water based off a game plan or who we have in that room. So I'm excited to be able to create issues for the offense, attack the offense, and solve problems too. So That's the fun part about what we're doing now.
And when you say hybrid guys, you're not just talking, I think, some fans may hear that and they think, oh, just Yasir or Jalen, because obviously he played the buck linebacker position at Auburn, but that's not what you're saying. You're saying a bunch of these guys could play multiple roles.
Well, yeah, it's, I think the better defenses that you see in this league, they're unpredictable by front, by coverage. So we're gonna be able to do what we need to do on a given week, on a given game plan, and put people in spots to where we can have success.
How much is cookie cutter now? We try to make a cookie cutter now, like a 4-3 or whatever. And how much is that? Is just doesn't even really exist anymore, based on what you're saying.
Yeah, it's hard because in an ideal world, like for example, on a given year, if you feel like you have 11 guys and you just keep you can keep 3 linebackers out there on the field. Like I'll go back. The Panthers, when Luke Kuechly and those guys were going, they played with 3 linebackers on the field 70% of the time because their linebackers they always played zone and their linebackers could do everything, right? Thomas Davis and all those guys. When your best 11 guys and there's 3 linebackers there, then that's what it is. We're always gonna do what is best to serve our best 11 guys so we can win the game. That's the feeling and understanding that I have right now.
How much focus is on the number 9 from last year, where it's just 9 turnovers for this group, which seems almost impossible. I know every coach in the world emphasizes turnovers.
Yeah,
but what are you guys doing to?
I don't think you're wrong in bringing that up. It's not specifically the number 9, but we more so come from the other angle of it, where we only talk about attacking the ball. We don't say what the number is and this is what. No, if you just tell them what you want and what you want to get out of it, that's what you emphasize is what you get. So we're emphasizing attacking the ball, and it's showing up in practice. It's a combination of, number 1, the players, right? The players got to be talented enough to do it. Number 2, the scheme puts them in a position where they can attack the ball. And if you don't emphasize it, it's not going to happen. Now, I'm not saying that it wasn't emphasized. It just happened to be that way. I don't know the specifics, but I know with us moving forward, all we do every day is we're very intentional about emphasizing attacking the football. It's graded, it's talked about, it's on film or it's not. And if it's not on film of us attacking the ball, then it's a problem to us, and we fix it.
How about what do you see in Foye, where he's at this stage? He's had a lot of productive years here in his career.
I love where he is right now in the off season. He's showing me all the signs of a guy that's going to have a solid, productive year. It's always hard at this time of year, too, because, you're talking about linebacker. We're in shorts right now, if we're being honest. And he's one of those guys that knows that. Like, there's specific things that, and, there's specific points that you want to get to that give you an idea that, all right, I'm on track to be where I need to be once the shoulder pads do come on. But I'm really happy and pleased with him. He's everything that I thought that he would be.
I know you're a linebackers coach. You don't coach Travis Hunter. But what's your take on what's going on here? And when you see him on a football field, I'm sure your eyes track a little bit that way on occasion.
I think I see. I understand. Number 1, I understand and saw what everybody saw. It's very clear. Like, super talented, just outstanding person, great energy. So, and just in that way, you root for him as a person. Number 2, he's a high-level football player that obviously showed and proved that he could do different things on both sides of the football. Moving forward, we'll see what he can do. He's just like, anybody that comes to the league, you got to prove yourself all over again. And the thing I love about that I've seen from him is he has that mentality.
How do you maximize Devin Lloyd?
Devin Lloyd will maximize himself. When I say that, he's doing everything that he's supposed to do to be on track to play to his best potential. And I'm really pleased with that guy. That guy, he's a fantastic person, hard worker, comes in early, leaves late, kicking butt in the weight room. I mean, he's meeting all the all the things that you need to do. So I'm pleased. I'm really pleased with Devin.
I think that when he was at Utah, he was maybe used a little bit more as a blitzer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is your assignment, go do this assignment, not multiple options on a single play.
Yeah.
What have you and the staff kind of evaluated as to, like, hey, where can we best use him?
Well, for me, it's as simple as be very direct and tell him exactly what he needs to do, because that's what that dude does. You tell him to do a specific thing, and he does it at a high level. And so far, that's what we've been doing. That's what he's been doing.
You guys have an advantage. Do you think people know what you're going to do with this?
It's always an advantage when you're new. You're crazy if you don't take advantage of that. You know what I mean? The first time where people might think they know what we are is when we play the Panthers. So that's definitely real. That's a real thing.
Is there something fun about that?
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? Element of surprise is real. Part of it is just like how we would have to do with other offenses. They got to study and look for things that'll give them an idea of who we'll be. So when it's new, it's always exciting.
How's Jack coming along?
Jack's coming along great. It's all about getting used to the speed of the game and pro ball. He can handle on information. Physically, he'll be fine. It's just getting used to the speed.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you, Brent.
There you go. That is Tem Lukabu, and he's impressive. I thought he was really good, just very straightforward, of course. But a couple of things in there that stick out, and I really thought this when I left the room that day after talking to a bunch of the assistant coaches, and you hear it back, and now it's been a few weeks, and you hear a lot of the same things. And one of those things for me is the relationships. Like this is a group. If you think about what he said right at the top, if you heard it from Campanile, he talked about relationships, and he kind of said like, "Hey, once you're one of his guys, you're family, and you're family forever." Like that's, and not to say like you got to like him, but you're in that web, and that's how that coaching kind of world works in fraternity. I think we have in our walks of life, you probably have people that come and go, people that run into you or you run into them at different facets of your life. And sure, like you always maybe know them, talk about them, but I'm not sure it feels as intimate as it does in the coaching world. The coaching world offers that up. There's a loyalty in there. We're all on the same team. This is such a different profession that we get what you're going through. I think there's an element of that that does exist in that world. So I think it comes back to relationships where, again, I think relationships was a disjointed deal in that Jags building for the last however many years on a lot of occasions. It's not just a Doug Peterson thing, and it's not even really just a Trent Baalke thing. Now, there are some things in there that certainly they're involved with, but I think this goes all the way back maybe to 2017 even, to 2018, where things started to get just not in full alignment, and relationships, you started to wonder where some of those things were. So I think this group is so hyper-focused on that, and it's just a common trait, or at least common words coming out of their mouth that they look at. I thought the end part there with Devin Lloyd, he said something else that was pretty interesting. And one was, if you tell him something to go do it, he's going to go do it. You got to be direct with him. And I don't know if that's with every player, but it was interesting how he brought it up with Devin Lloyd. Like, hey, tell him what you want, communicate what you want, have a role for him, and he'll go deliver. But there was almost this insinuation that, and I think from his play the last few years, you could say, well, was there a lot of gray area of what they wanted him to do? And when there's gray area, there's doubt. And it sounds like they're trying to take that out of him. I still think he's one of the most interesting players going into 2025 for a lot of different reasons. But I think we could see more than people expect out of Devin Lloyd. Might be wrong, but to me, he's kind of like a buy low guy right now. And I think there's some stuff to buy into regarding Devin Lloyd. I asked him about turnovers. Every coach, again, preaches turnovers. They all do it in a certain way. But he wasn't hammering
He tried to avoid hammering the other staff. He said he doesn't know why they only got 9 turnovers. But what he said about the way they do it and how you get turnovers is not only preach it and practice it, which everybody, again, does, but he also referred to, you got to have the scheme and the guys that fit in it. So I think that acknowledgement and that formula is something that we can wrap our arms around and say, yeah, that didn't seem to fit. Okay, go attack the ball, go get the ball. Those are things every coaching staff says from Pop Warner all the way up. But then do you have the players that fit what you're trying to do so they're put in a position to play fast and live that out? And I think that's a different animal now. And not everybody's going to be able to fit. But I think one of the curiosities, again, do the Jags have the pieces? Do they have the chess pieces? Do they have the ingredients to play the style that Campanile, Lukabu, these guys want them to play? And I think there's a thought that they do. I'm sure it's not as ideal as they want it to be. They just walk into a place in year one, and you are kind of inheriting a roster. You can only make so many moves. So is every guy out there the way they would envision? Probably not. But I think the question is, are more of those guys out there that fit what they're trying to do than we're out there with what Nielsen was trying to do? So those are the things that catch my attention. I think he's very good, by the way. Coach back at Rhode Island. So I was talking to him a little bit about that, I think back in 09, 08, 09, 10, somewhere in there. And just another part of that Northeast connection with Liam Cohen and Campanile and what they're bringing to Jacksonville. So the linebackers as a whole, I asked this question during that interview, are they a strength of this football team? And I don't think you can sit there and say they're a strength of the football team. I think when we think of the strengths of this football team, we believe the wide receivers there's something to buy into. We believe the defensive line is the way they look on paper. We talked about it yesterday. I think when you buy, that's from a position group standpoint. Outside of that, I think there are a lot of question marks. The quarterback you want to buy into, but until you kind of see it more, I don't think you're just signed up for, okay, he's going to be awesome this year. Running back, same way. Offense line, same way. Tight ends, the same way. I think the secondary is really a curiosity. But I do think the linebackers fit kind of in the middle of all that. I think Foye, you know what you're getting. Everybody else, you really don't know. And I think that leaves a lot of potential for upside because of the Devin Lloyds, because of some of the talent there. So I think it could be fun to watch. And I'll give you one other element of that. If the front does play well, that really helps the linebacking group. So if they can get better play out of that line, those interior guys, the linebackers are set up in a much better way. One last thought on what Coach said there. And I think it's worth, this is why we asked the question, even with people that aren't working directly on a day-to-day basis with Travis Hunter. And this was now a couple of weeks ago, by the way, when we got these guys. But I loved how he said his thoughts about Travis Hunter. He's everything that everybody's talking about, really. And you can just see, he was very matter of fact. It's like, listen, you can just see it, man. When a guy's gifted and a guy's talented, you can see it. And I think that's pretty cool to say. Also the energy, also the, hey, he's a good dude, all that stuff. But even from the guys that aren't in the weeds with him on a day-to-day basis, I think that that's a cool thing to hear about Travis Hunter. That's a consistent thing we hear about Travis Hunter. That is who he is. Like, there's just more evidence of this dude is that guy, but he's also that kind of player. You get those kind of reviews from the people that are working with him on a day-to-day basis, the way he moves, the way he operates, and obviously the stamina and everything else that goes with it. So I think the more you hear it, the better. And now we're going to be the last ones on that, right? We're the last ones to feel that because we'll see it in September. See it for a glimpse here or there in a preseason game. Yeah, we'll see it on the practice field, but we're not going to believe it as much on a practice field until we actually see it in a game. So we will be probably the last ones to say, oh, yeah, that's why they did it. That's why they got him at number 2. I already think they're saying that inside the building. From the players to the coaches, I think they already see it. just a month or two into this thing. So hopefully we feel the same way when it comes time for the fall. Let's take a time out. Brent Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Austin will join us, I think, on the other side. We're talking some killer bees today on the show. I've got the question about the Oklahoma City Thunder as well. We'll ask him a little bit about the linebackers. And Daniel Griffiths writes for us on ActionSportsJax.com about some potential records for the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up this fall. We'll take a close look at that article. And you can find it, as always, on ActionSportsJax.com, much like you can find the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network each and every day. If you had just had a computer screen and you just put it on ActionSportsJax.com, you'll see everything we do all 24 hours a day. Now, that would be a pretty boring life if you just sat there in front of the computer the entire day. But some of the day, especially 10 to 1, we appreciate you hanging out with us. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants.
We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter.
Right now, you can get a free Connecticut reverse osmosis system with a purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at Recycling Simplified.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
And we had a lot of fun yesterday with Garrett Scantling, and well, there he is, and there he goes. He runs faster than that, but he joined us for a good portion of the show. The Olympian, 4th place in the decathlon in Tokyo in 2020, trying to get back now, and begins his quest for that for the 2028 games in Los Angeles this weekend at the Bowl School. If you missed any of our conversation, to learn a little bit about the decathlon, an Episcopal grad, he's a Jacksonville guy, and had a lot of fun as he took us through some of the different things. And also just talked about being an Olympian and what he's chasing coming up next. He's also a teacher and a coach over there at Episcopal. So a fun conversation with him during the show, live on the show. One of the cool things we can do, and we're playing around with a little bit this month. We've taken you out to a baseball game live and talked to some of those guys while playing. And now this workout with Garrett on Monday. You can watch it back on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Twitch, but you can also check it out on our podcast. Just go find our Action Sports Jax podcast, and the Brent Austen Show gets up each and every day at 1:30. So hour by hour breakdown, you can pick and choose. And for your ride home each and every day, if you can't join us live, just listen in on the podcast. Brent Martineau here in the Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network studios. Kim's Corner along once again today. Casey was here earlier on. He joins us again a little bit later in the week. And well, there's Austin Lane down in South Florida. He joins us now after another workout and getting it in as get closer and closer. We are at June 24th. It's Tuesday. I feel like it's a Wednesday for some reason, but it's a Tuesday, and looks like July 12th is the fight day. So now inside 3 weeks until the much-anticipated fight.
There we go, man. Yeah, it's crazy because I don't even really keep track of days. I mean, once you're in camp, it's another day. Either it's sparring day or it's grappling day. So today was a sparring day with big gloves, but obviously the fight is getting right around the corner. I'm excited.
How's the work going on the reset stuff that we were talking about, and some of the other things that you're working on that we probably don't want to share until after the fight? But some of those things, other than the actual training, that is probably a little bit normal for you by now.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, obviously this isn't my first rodeo. I've been training for a long time now, it seems like. But yeah, obviously, like in terms of MMA, either you're doing things to get better or you're being stagnant. And obviously it doesn't pay to be stagnant right now because I'm not a champion yet, right? So we got to find things to do to improve and everything. And we kind of talked about the reset a little bit of, whether you're a batter and then the batter's box with the gloves, trying to switch those out, or whether you're a fighter trying to find just something that makes you comfortable where you can constantly reset and focus. That's what it's all about. So that's what I've been implementing in this camp, man. I'm excited to use it.
I saw something recently, and I didn't know this was coming up, but apparently UFC and Dana White is in talks for the next TV deal or whatever, the media deal that he'll do. I guess it could, the headline I saw, I didn't really click on it, it could go to a bunch of different platforms, which is what a lot of things are doing nowadays. Well, what was interesting to me is he's going to be one of the most unique entities that exist where it just doesn't feel like they're being threatened with competition, now there are other outfits, and so you can put other things on, but I mean, they really are getting to the realm where you are like the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball, where there's not a lot to challenge, I guess, your spot in the landscape of MMA. Like, we're going to look up in 10, 15, 20 years, and it's still going to be UFC, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the biggest challenge right now would be boxing. And now Dana White has his hands all over that because he's helping promote going to be one of the biggest fights in a long time. And that's going to be Canelo Alvarez taking on Terrence Bud Crawford. And Bud Crawford is arguably the pound-for-pound GOAT right now in boxing, taking on probably the biggest name in boxing in, Alvarez. So like the fact that, not only does Dana have obviously he's a huge influence in mixed martial arts, but now he's kind of dipping his toes into the boxing game a little bit. And that to me is where he wants to be, honestly, Brent. Like, I think his passion is with boxing. I think you saw that when Conor McGregor boxed Floyd Mayweather. Obviously, Dana was all over that as well. But it does help when you have an organization, when you have a brand that there really is no competition. Like, there is competition in terms of other organizations and everything, and they pay great money. But in terms of brand recognition, in terms of fighter recognition, yeah, there's nothing bigger than UFC.
Yeah, nothing at all. A couple quick hitters from what we were talking about a bit earlier on the show. I gave you a little bit of a homework assignment, and then we kind of did a little bit something on it on the Oklahoma City Thunder. We just can't seem to. It feels like they're a nice story, a darling kind of story. Hey, that's pretty cool that they won. I outside of Indiana, which obviously lost to them, and even there, I don't know if there's a lot of angst over Oklahoma City. This is a team that won a championship that not too many people are mad at, and I think that's unusual in sports. I just don't think we get that. I think when the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl, I don't think everybody loves it. There's just going to be a lot more haters to that, and that might be a different animal, but we even went back to Seattle, Austin. Like, even that Seattle team, which was cute and trendy and fun, and it was new and it was fresh, still had, like, Richard Sherman, I think you could argue, like, rubbed people the wrong way. Marshawn Lynch, could he rub people the wrong way at the time? He actually he was more likable as he went along, especially once you found out he liked Skittles. So, this is a group of, of a team that is, I think, so in a way nondescript that people are like, good for them.
Yeah, so this is the thing about the Thunder, and you may have seen this a little bit with the Nuggets, but like the Thunder are a great example of this, right? So when LeBron James goes to Miami, and then it's Chris Bosh, obviously he was there, goes there as well, and then Dwayne Wade was waiting for them. Like, that was really the formation of a super team. And you saw that in Boston with KG and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. You've seen that in Golden State when Kevin Durant chose to go to Golden State. And I think when teams they construct those big threes or like those super teams, fans either love them or they hate them, but they're very polarizing. When you talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder, like, look at their track record. Like, they've drafted maybe better than any other organization. You're talking about teams that had KD, teams that had Russell Westbrook, James Harden, right? And never really got over that hump. Well, then they reset. They get SGA, they get Williams, they get Chet Holmgren, and they built once again through the draft. And yeah, they got a couple like role player free agents here or there, but nothing like, it's not like KD went back to Oklahoma City. So when you have a team like that, Brent, who is just literally built through the draft, I think you kind of earn respect a little bit from NBA fans, but maybe you're not as popular because you don't really have anything to hate about.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for that. I think again, it's just unique. It just feels a little bit different when you have that. And I think you hit on all the points. I think it is cool what they're doing, what they did, how they did. We talked about the 5 second-round draft picks yesterday, the undrafted free agent. It's just not a common way to just go buy your team and put it in place and spend all this money. Now, the next phase of it, as mentioned yesterday, is keeping it. And how do you roll it over, and how do you continue to enhance it and do all those other things? We did not talk about Kevin Durant yesterday, really, on the show, other than to acknowledge that he got traded. It's you talk about different things in the sports realm. He's going to be one of the biggest superstars. For a headline, I would say he's going to be one of the biggest superstars that nobody wants. That's not really true. I think people want him, but when you play for 5 different teams, it does come across in 5 different teams for a 15-time All-Star that people don't really want you as and he doesn't come across as like the Deion Sanders or the Jalen Ramsey that is going to wear out his welcome after a few years with the team. Yeah. So he's an interesting figure in sports, or is he just the nature of the NBA? Like, why is he on his 5th team in his career after an illustrious career?
Here's the thing, Brent. Like we can sit here and say it's easy to say that it's the nature of the NBA. It's how the NBA works. But then I look at a guy like Joel Embiid and think, well, Joel Embiid should have Kevin Durant's career, right? Because obviously with Joel Embiid, comes a little bit sometimes of the off the court stuff. It's the load management. Is he hurt? Is he not hurt? Right? And he spent his time in Philly, which to me is surprising because I figured he would have been traded a couple times by now. But then you have a guy in Kevin Durant I don't know, like obviously he kind of had a falling out a little bit in Brooklyn with James Harden when Steve Nash was the coach and everything. But I think more of Kevin Durant's, quote unquote, you want to call it drama, whatever you want to call it, is more just kind of media based, right? Like he's been after Stephen A. Smith a couple of times. He's been after the Twitter trolls a couple of times. So it's not necessarily him being a bad teammate. I think it's him being more concerned with what the world thinks about him. It is wild because, and I'm not going to put him maybe in a top 5 category anymore, but he's definitely a top 10 player. And the fact that a talented guy like that, 7-footer who can shoot the lights out, is just going on team to team to team. It's crazy. And when you look at like what the Rockets gave up to get him, and then what, the Suns kind of pick up, when we talk about these trades, Brent, there's always a winner and a loser. Right, that's how we play the game. Oh, this team got fleeced. Oh, I can't believe they gave up that much. Honestly, like when I look at the Houston Rockets, they're in win now mode, right? So okay, go and add Kevin Durant, try to make that run, and maybe you guys finally have that missing piece that can get you over the hump. And then when I look at the Phoenix Suns, who have kind of been, it seems like, in purgatory the past couple of years. They've tried a lot of things, whether it's with Paul, whether it's with Kevin Durant. Things haven't worked out like they're supposed to. So then what do? Well, you get some draft capital, you get a young promising guy in Jalen Green, and now you got some pieces that you should be excited going forward for the next 4 or 5 years to come. So to me, I mean, it's almost a win-win situation. Like, is Phoenix going to win a championship next year? Probably not, right? But they're going to rebuild. They're going to retool, going to rebuild. Hopefully in a couple of years, you're talking about at least being contending for a championship. And then when you talk about Houston, who is just a dynamic team of young players, and that's who come all around the NBA, like a Fred VanVleet, who was like an undrafted guy. He was a 6th player or whatever in Toronto, goes to Houston. Now he's kind of the man. Well, then yeah, go ahead and add Kevin Durant and see if you can get him over the hump. So I think it was a win-win situation. It's just, it all comes down to is how much does Kevin Durant have left in the tank?
Yeah, I mean, he's 30. You're going to be 37 by the time the season starts next year. Do you look at him as like a missing piece? Because that's what you're kind of describing for Houston, and they're hoping for, right? But is he a missing piece, or is he a chess piece that has to fit in a certain thing?
I think given his ability, given his size, you can let him do a lot of things, right? Like, one would think when he went to Golden State, well, how did it work out with Steph Curry, right? Because Steph Curry's like the ultimate shooter. So, like, are there enough, shots to go around, especially with Klay Thompson? I mean, you literally had the Splash Brothers, one of the most prolific shooting teams in NBA history. But by the way, then you're going to add another shooter to that group. And it worked there, Brent. So I think if you have the right coaching, I think if you have the right guys around him, and once again, I'm not sure with Houston, right? They're still a young team, still trying to come into their own a little bit. But to answer your question, I think Kevin Durant can make it work. And I think he can be that piece that Houston was missing.
Well, it's interesting to me on the Golden State stuff is Durant. What collided there was, first of all, just this incredible amount of talent that felt like a U.S. Olympic team that was playing in the NBA. And also, he actually did at that time play probably 2 of his best seasons or a couple of his best seasons. He was arguably the best player in the game at that time. It just didn't stretch to a long period of time to put him in that kind of category, like the best player in the game. So, and he's always been very good. The other part of this is 27.6 points, I think I saw, is what he averages in his career. That's 6th all time. Yet I just don't feel like you kind of in your mind, you wrap around or he gets the flowers of being in that kind of category. If we're going to do a trivia question sometime, we're going to say, hey, who are the best point scorers by average of all time in NBA history? And I just don't think people are going to throw out Kevin Durant's name rather quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild, right? Because dude probably averages like 27, 28 points a game. And when you talk about the playoffs too, it's not like he goes missing. So he is a prolific scorer, and like as far as defense is concerned, like he's adequate. But I get what you're saying, Brent, where I think his biggest thing against him is that when he was supposed to be the guy on these teams, whether it was Brooklyn, whether it was OKC, he didn't deliver a championship. His championship came in the form of having to go join Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and company, right? And then I believe they won also when Kevin Durant left, right? I think they won another one without him. So, obviously that was a very talented team. The biggest question is can Kevin Durant do it himself, right? And that's what sets you apart. That's what makes you a Joker. That's what makes you a Giannis. That's what makes you a LeBron James. I say LeBron James. Well, yeah, because, I mean, technically he did win one in Cleveland, and that was more of him than anybody else. So that's Kevin Durant's biggest thing is can he will now? Because he's going to have to be the leader of that Rockets team. Yes, they're a great team. They had a good playoff run, but he's got to step up and be that guy now. And time will tell if he can still be that guy or not.
Hey, Kim, if we can, let's throw up that graphic for Daniel Griffiths' article. We'll switch over to the Jags right now. And Daniel Griffiths writes on actionsportsjacks.com just about each and every day that you can read a little something about the Jaguars usually. And today's topic, Jaguars records to watch. So he's digging into the record books, and this is where the Jags could have some nice moments here in 2025. So I guess the topic is simply, do the Jags get this? Trevor Lawrence to eclipse that single-season passing record, 44-29, is all he needs, which in today's landscape with the 17th game and the way you throw it is doable. I do think the way they want to run the ball, though, Austin, maybe less doable, right? I mean, it's just not automatic that he's going to throw for, let's be honest, throwing for over 4,000 yards is not really a crazy thing anymore. But when you get to the 4,500 mark or even 4,400, that gets a little bit harder. Like it closes quick. How many guys can throw for 4,000 or 3,800, 3,900, and then who throws for 4,500?
Yeah, I mean, if Trevor Lawrence was to eclipse that number, Brent, I'd be very curious to see, well, then is this defense not what we thought it was going to be, right? Because they're playing from behind a lot. Now we're talking about a bunch of garbage time. I think with a more balanced attack on offense, I don't expect him to get that number. And that's not the worst thing, right? Like you want to have a solid run game to have your back here.
Well, just to give you a heads up, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, although Baker Mayfield did it, the only three quarterbacks to throw for over 4,400, only three quarterbacks to throw for over 4,320 yards last year. But there were another 3 quarterbacks that did throw for over 4,000. Even Patrick Mahomes, 39-28 last year. And you do get the sense that the Jags want to play a little bit more like that. Play a little bit more, run the football, control the clock type of things. Herbert, 38-70. He's a guy that's thrown it all over the yard in the past. Well, what did they do? Harbaugh went in. They said, we're going to run the football. Well, his numbers go down a little bit. So, again, that 4,429 yards, that's a pretty significant mark. I'd bet against it for that to happen in 2025.
But I'm going to say one thing, though, Brent, too. Keep in mind, if you talk about – I mean, I guess, are we talking about an offensive juggernaut team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, or not, right? Because if you look at the Baltimore Ravens, well, they're like one of the best rushing teams in the NFL. Look at what Jackson threw last year for them, though. Like, he had to be close to 4,000 yards.
He was 41-72,
okay.
40, which is 245 a game. And when you say 245 a game, it doesn't sound like a lot, right?
No. And then also like a guy like Josh Allen, right, for the Bills. I mean, they're definitely now more of a run-oriented team. Well, he had his MVP year last year.
He did.
Off a lot of his arm, too. I'm sure he had some pretty good passing numbers.
3,700 yards, though, Austin. That's 14th in the NFL. That's middle of the road in the NFL. Now, also keep in mind, you only get about 15, 16, 17 quarterbacks that played every game. right? So, I mean, so really, if you take every quarterback that played every game, Josh Allen's one of the lowest in that regard. But again, I think important to note what they tried to do with Herbert, what they tried to do with Allen. What they've actually done is they've kind of reimagined even Mahomes in the Kansas City offense, is they've taken the ball and the risk of turnover and things like that out of their hands a little bit more. Not a crazy amount, but at least a little bit. And we're talking about a few hundred yards that separate Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. But you go game by game, and that's probably maybe 5 or 6 less pass attempts. Well, less chance to turn it over in Josh Allen's view, and he did a great job of that. He hardly turned the football.
Meanwhile, Joe Burrow's just going to be Joe Burrow in Cincinnati.
Well,
you get the feeling.
And that might be a problem, Austin, though, right? I mean, can they continue to do that, and can you win? Now, as you say that, Jared Goff and Detroit, they truly are a juggernaut, right? They will run for, they feel like they got 2 backs that run for 1,000, and he's still thrown for 4,600 yards, but they were one of the best offenses in the league.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I don't know if you and Casey talked about this quick, Brent, but did you see the new Netflix documentary quarterback for the new season? It's going to be must-watch television. Did you see who's going to be featured in it?
You know, I saw it was coming back, and I don't know if I just missed it and scrolled through or wasn't in the time frame to do it. I didn't see who is actually on it. Who's on it?
So it's going to be 3 quarterbacks featured, Brent. You're going to have Jared Goff. Okay, right? Get to see behind the scenes a little bit. Dan Campbell biting some kneecaps. Let's get it. You're going to have Kirk Cousins, the Jason Hamby special. Let's see how that season went last year for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to be entertaining. Like, you're supposed to be the guy, and all of a sudden, okay, well, they draft Penix, going to get that reaction and everything. Then obviously it just goes south really quickly for Kirk Cousins. And then rounding out the list, Brent, this is the guy that's going to get all the viewership, going to get the eyes. Me and Casey might actually do our own little podcast watch along for the show. It's going to be Joe Burrow.
So Burrow is highlight. Wow.
Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and Kirk Cousins, man. The holy trinity of entertainment, Brent. Let's go.
I'm stunned that I'm not surprised by Goff. And plus, doesn't he have like supermodel wife or something like that? The Burrow doesn't surprise me. That's a really good get for them because I know, didn't they cancel last year or have because nobody wanted to do it? I thought there was something like that. And the Cousins one's amazing
too. Like, they're gonna address Burrow's house getting broken into, so that'll be interesting. No, for real. Like that's in the trailer, Brent. Yeah.
Oh wow, wow. The Cousins one's fascinating because like, what is he? It feels like he's setting himself up for ridicule, but he also won a lot of people over with the last time he was on it. Mm-hmm. Right? He won. People were like, "Hey, he's a lot cooler than I thought he was." Or didn't he come out of that season where people were really talking about him in a positive way?
Maybe, man. I didn't watch last time he was on it, so I have no idea, honestly.
Yeah, I thought he was a big winner from the time before. I think it was the same show that he was on it. So that'll be pretty wild. So just 3 of them, by the way, have signed up for it. I did send this to Casey. I didn't send it to you because I know you and Casey love Burrow. But I will say when the Jags play the Bengals, if he throws the football like he does a baseball, the sideline better watch out.
I haven't seen it. Was it a bad first pitch?
Oh yeah, do you see? Well, it wasn't.
I haven't seen it.
I don't know what the event was. He was inside, like in a batting cage area, and trying to hit a target, and there was a bunch of media around. So like they knew what was going on. And Austin, like he yanks like the first 3 or 4 of them. Like it's not even close. It's just amazing that a guy that throws the football the way he does could throw it this poorly with the baseball. Now he eventually kind of figured out and it got a little bit closer, but it was like, what in the world? Like, can it be that different throwing a baseball and a football? And I guess the answer is yes.
Come on, Brent. It's probably like Shaq trying to shoot a free throw. Like if you didn't grow up playing baseball and you sure you had some big hands throwing a pigskin around, and then all of a sudden you ask somebody to throw like that small baseball, it's going to be different, man.
All right, let's go back to the Jags records before we hit a break and talk about killer bees. ETN, 3rd in career rushing yards. He needs 261 to pass James Stewart. He will get that. Josh Hines-Allen, franchise sack record, needs 2.5 sacks to pass Tony Brackens. I think we all believe he will get that. Cam Little, single season 50-plus yard field goal, needs 8 50-plus yard field goals. He had 5 of them in 2024. This is an interesting one and a hard to predict one. One you kind of hope that he doesn't get it because you hope you have a little bit more, first of all, touchdowns, but if not, you've moved the ball far enough to not have to be kicking it from 54, 58, 52, whatever it is. But the dude has the leg. There's no doubt about it. And I think he's he's kind of a curiosity for me, Austin. Can he back up this tremendous rookie season and now set a tone, much like Brian Thomas Jr., where I'm like really good. And you prove that you're really good, and we know that guy's really good. And every year you're going to count on Cam Little and Brian Thomas Jr. to have, whatever season, right? At least as a floor.
Yeah, man, kickers are like, to me, it's so hard to predict. You showcase like you're the real deal, then you're going to probably remain pretty consistent throughout your career. But then I'm reminded of who was the dude from the Colts that had the glasses from Georgia?
The Georgia guy? Yeah,
I should know his name.
Golly, yeah, me too.
But he was supposed to be like the next big thing, and then like he had a great, I want to say, rookie campaign.
Blankenship.
There we go, Rodrigo Blankenship. Nicely done, Brent. Then he well, hey, it is what it is, man. He still put the effort in, but then he kind of fell off. So I feel like with a lot of positions, wide receiver, running back, defensive line, like as long as those guys can stay healthy, like if they show a good rookie year, you probably know what you're getting. Kickers, man, I always felt like it's all psychological, right? So you never know.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to lean on. One of the things we asked this question, and so I'll ask you: do you think Casey asked the question? It's a good question. Do you think the Jags are better on paper? Are they more talented this year with what you see on paper than the 2017 season?
Wow, that's a good question.
And while you think about it for a second, I even think some of this does squeeze out to like how you are on special teams. And we eventually, I had forgotten about Lambeau a little bit, but we got to that, and Lambeau had an excellent season that year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I do think right now, when you factor in the totality of how good the Jags can be or what you think they're going to be, they do have a very good special teams unit. And while you don't usually boast that and brag about it, they have the potential to have an elite group. And they might already have an elite group. I mean, they sent the long snapper to his second Pro Bowl, and he's an All-Pro. Logan Cook, we know, is really good. He just got paid the highest in the game. And Cam Little was like that good last year for them. From kickoffs to field goals, they really have something there with those three guys. And again, you don't want that to be the best part of your team. We've had that in Jacksonville before, but it does complement the other things that they do have. Like, all right, don't worry about that. That's going to be pretty good here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, Brent, to be fair, I almost lean 17 just because I think the top-end talent was a little more superior from what we've seen right now, right? Like, I mean, you had two corners that could shut anybody down. You had the pass rush. You had Calais Campbell, who at that time was arguably one of the best three techniques in the game. You had a running game that I think you know what you had a little more. Like, what we think this running game this year, Brent, is going to be a lot better. But until we see it, how can we call it, right? We at least know with Leonard Fournette, and maybe it wasn't always the sexiest, it got the job done. So I would lean a little more towards 17.
That's interesting. And listen, there's a different characterization in this. Part of the conversation here and how we got to this question was we brought up the idea that when the Jags have had some of their best seasons, they come out of nowhere. 1996, 2017, 2022. Nobody really planned like, oh, wow, this is going to be a team that could go to a championship or maybe make a run deep into the playoffs. Like, it just didn't feel that. But in 2017, if you want to kind of go along that same line, we didn't know Calais was going to have 14 and a half sacks and be up for Defensive Player of the Year. He was a 5 to 9 sack guy that you hoped would deliver and would add, but not to that point you didn't know. A.J. Boye, we didn't know he was about to have his career year and really never did it again. He had such a good season. So, like Jalen, we thought could be really good. There were other parts that we thought could be really good. We actually thought the receivers could be okay. Allen Robinson, Marquise Lee, Hearns, what they had already done in like 2015, they had great numbers. Could they have another good year in 17? We'll see. So, I think along those lines, we actually can buy into maybe even a bit more in some respect. Trevor, Yeah, more than Bortles we would have bought into at the time going into the year. Brian Thomas Jr., heck, man, buy into that, right? No doubt. Travis Hunter versus a Leonard Fournette, who you had drafted, well, you can buy into that. Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, what those guys have already produced, you could say, hey, getting 13 sacks each of those guys is not far-fetched. That's something you can buy into. So I think it's an interesting conversation of not necessarily how it turned out in 17, but really what we thought about it going into 17, and what those guys ended up doing is delivering career years. And this is where we got to on this topic, is that if the Jags can have players that deliver career years, Trayvon, Trevor, Tyson Campbell, well, then this team could really do something.
No, without a doubt, and is there a little wishful thinking there? Sure, because we still have yet to see a full season of it with Tyson Campbell. We've started to see a full season of it with Trevor Lawrence. So once again, were you expecting 2017 to do what would happen? Probably not, right? But the talent was there. I just think what makes it a little more where I got to see it to believe it, Brent, is because we've seen Trevor Lawrence for how many years now, right? We've seen Tyson Campbell for how many years? When Calais Campbell came in, you're familiar with him in Arizona, but did you really watch him every single game? Well, obviously not. And obviously he fit the system here in Jacksonville perfectly, and you have that breakout year. So it kind of came unexpectedly. I think right now people think, all right, yeah, Tyson Campbell is going to be okay. We think Trevor Lawrence is going to be pretty good, but that's where expectations are at. Just because we have the sample size. We didn't really have a sample size with a lot of those guys coming into Jacksonville, if you will.
Yeah, I think, there's I guess that's kind of the thing. Could we get it? What will we see? Will this be unexpected? Or are we expecting too much is another way to flip around on it. So, hey, let's take a break. Brent Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. We come back. We're talking killer bees. I got to get your thoughts on this. I ran into this article. I've now studied the article, and I got to get an Austin Lane update on bees because it's been a while. It's coming up next on the Brent Austen Show. Tomorrow night, it's Austin Lane and Casey Kurtz talking some wrestling. Always something going on in that arena. And the Scrap House each and every Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Replays at 3 o'clock on Thursdays as well at actionsportsjacks.com. And you can find it on social media. Just part of the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Are you about to graduate high school and haven't decided on what you want to do when you get done? Well, one option is to apply to become a student in the Electrical Training Alliance of Jacksonville. Their program offers structured classroom and online training along with on-the-job training so that you can earn while you learn. Still not convinced? The folks at ETA Jacks are a tuition-free 4-year apprenticeship program. There is no tuition and no student debt. Just pay for your books and your fees. That's it. Now, speaking of pay, students, they start off making $40,000 per year, including benefits, and they graduate, get this, making over $80,000 per year, including those sought-after benefits. Now, that sounds pretty good to me, and if that sounds good to you, it should check off a lot of boxes. So head on over to etajacks.org and apply by May 15th. Again, the website right here, etajacks.org. Don't wait, apply today.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Save 10% off any water heater plus no trip charge. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet.
Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table.
Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjacks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
All right, look at the baseball grounds in Bragan Field downtown as the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp are playoff bound. Had a day off yesterday. They come back home. They play tonight at 7 o'clock. They play tomorrow at noon. So if you want to go see an afternoon game, probably hot out there, find some shade. Maybe go in those shrimp boats or try the new right field seats as well. Got the home plate clubhouse area, box seat area, if you will. And so a lot of good things to see and a good baseball team playing really good baseball right now for the Miami Marlins affiliate here in Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. First half champs in comeback fashion. And looks like a nice day down there. They've been on the road for 2 weeks, so kind of a nice little reprieve, I think, for everybody that works in minor league baseball for the Shrimp. Not everybody, but for the folks that stay back and put on the game day operations, they got a nice little break and now back at it here in the middle of summer. Brent Martineau here, Austin Lane down in South Florida, getting his work in, and Kim's Corner. But with us again here today. Appreciate Kim being along for the ride, and she's going to get a little bee knowledge now because I see this article and it's like, oh, the killer bees, they're swarming, and I was like, oh boy, here we go, got to bring Austin in, and then so I even did, I kind of clicked on the article, I did a little research, so now I feel well informed. I don't know how much of this story you know about or have researched a little bit in the last day or two, but just the Africanized honeybees right now are a problem, it seems.
Yeah, so these are the African killer bees, Brent. And then in your research, did you find out where the African killer bees came from and why, like, they're a thing?
I feel like I might have read that.
Brazil.
But maybe I didn't really consume it all.
So ironically, the African killer bees that everyone, associates with are actually from Brazil. And like most horror stories, they started in a lab. So what they did is they took the European bee and they took the African bee and they used their genetics and they crossbred them in a way to try to create a bee that could give more honey production. This was the biggest thing. I think this was back in like the 1950s.
Oh, wow.
So they crossbreed them. And the African, the new hybrid African bee was born. Well, scientists quickly found out that when they crossbred these two bees from Europe and Africa, they did not create more honey, and they became a lot more aggressive and a lot more willing to sting people. And this is where the term African killer bee came from. So then, once again, like most horror stories, they get out of the lab. They can't contain them, and they ended up, just flying all over the place. And for some reason, a shipment, whatever, it gets to the States, and African killer bees make their home in the States. I think Texas might have been the first state where they were found.
It's definitely in the South.
It's in the South. It's in the SEC, where it just means more, Brent, because they don't like. They don't like cold weather. They prefer humidity. They prefer warm weather. And now these things are starting to spread because, and say what you want about it, but with quote unquote global warming, could be a thing. And now we're starting to see these bees migrate a little more up north more and taking over more states. And when you talk about African killer bees, like, yes, they do make honey. So they do provide a service. They do pollinate flowers and everything, but it's not as much honey, obviously, as regular honeybees. And they're also very much more territorial, and they're very aggressive. So much so that, like, if you come across an African killer bee, usually they just say, hey, if you just, leave them alone, they're going to leave you alone, like most honeybees. That is not the case. If you look at an African killer bee the wrong way, it will chase you reportedly past a quarter mile.
Yeah.
So better get out your sprinting shoes for that. And they attack in swarms, like where most honeybees, one bee will sacrifice itself for the colony. No, these things, they hunt in packs. It's almost like they have like little man syndrome. Like they're like super aggressive, and like they don't like to be, they're almost like the Steve Smith Jr. or whatever, senior, whatever he is now, of insects, like where they kind of got an attitude, they got a chip on their shoulder, and you probably don't want to see them at midfield, Brent.
Yeah, listen, you nailed a lot of it. And what's interesting is, like, the honeybee, as we know and have learned, they sting, they die, right? They sacrifice. These work the same way, but you're right, they come in more volume. And I think that's like the biggest difference. There's a quote in this article that kind of tells the story. And here it is from this expert. It says, if I'm working around one of my European honeybee colonies and I knock on it with a hammer, it might send out 5 to 10 individuals to see what's going on. It's fascinating. They talk about a bee as an individual. They would follow me perhaps as far as my house, and I might get stung once, said this guy. If I did the same thing with an Africanized colony, I might get 50 to 100 individuals who would follow me much farther, and I'd get more stings. So it's really an issue of scale, as you just described. They really they protect by the numbers.
Correct. And it's also an issue too, because if you have like a honeybee, like usually, say like you don't have like the boxes, right? Say that there's honeybees in the wild. Well, you're more than likely going to see their hive in the wild. Like you can come across it, you can hear it, and you'll be okay. Well, let me go ahead and stay away. Let me, allow them to do their thing. With African killer bees, they're more like discreet. Like they stay like in like dead trees, or like you'll see them like in dead like tires that have been like abandoned. Just like they're in areas. Then they make up their homes where you can't see it just with like the naked eye. Like you'll hear it maybe, but then you'll walk past it, like, what's that sound? And then you'll investigate, and oh crap, here's an African killer bee nest. So they're a lot more discreet in terms of how they go about their business, which also makes them a little more deadly as well.
Well, I went down this rabbit hole too, and this part's interesting to what you just said. They are more sensitive to the potential threats, which in their world is like a vibration or something, right? So like this quote says you could be mowing a lawn a few houses away and just the vibrations will set them off. Like they're not even in your yard and they're coming calling or looking.
These Brent, these are not like, because I always say, like, bees aren't going to bother you. They're not going to bother you to bother them, right?
By the way, you told me that, and I do that. I try to tell people. Now, the other day, like I was up in New York during one of our shows, and I literally had a bee just like kind of right around my arm during the show. And I was like, all right, I can't continue to do the show with this bee just like hovering around my arm and focusing. I don't swat them away. I don't run from them because I lesson learned. But this one, I was like, all right, dude, you got to get away from me. Like I swat him, and he actually didn't come back. But I was concerned that I was going to get stung on the show live. Because I did that. But I did take that from one of our past lessons about bees. That
I like it, man.
You can't get afraid. You just got to stay, and then they'll go away.
Yeah, they can. Honestly, it's the thing my grandpa used to always keep in mind. This is 6-7-year-old Austin Lane who is absolutely frightened because there's 20,000 bees just circling around me, and my grandpa's like, hey, yeah. Just don't be. They can tell you're nervous, Just calm down. I'm like, Doug. There's 20. Like, what do you mean, calm down? Like, I've seen My Girl. I see how it ends. Okay, like, I'm going inside, sir. But no. But when you talk about African killer bees, those might have been the bees from My Girl, by the way. But R.I.P. to Macaulay Culkin in that movie. But these are don't use, and I don't even know, like, can you really tell a difference, because they're almost the same size as regular like honeybees. So it's
I don't
like
think
these,
you
like,
can.
giant, like, these aren't like the murder hornets of 2022. So they're literally just the same looking bee. It's just they're really, really aggressive. These are like the bees that you would see like at the beach bars like at 2 a.m. in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like these are like the Waffle House bees at 3 a.m. You're just trying to go there with your friends and everything, and okay, there's somebody in the corner starting to try to cause a scene. Those are the killer bees you're dealing with. Yeah,
it's pretty. So it's hard to tell until, of course, they all come for you at whatever, because there's so many of them. All right, so from a lethal perspective, this also has this. Lethal dose required to kill, like human beings, just so everybody knows, is about 50% of whatever this dosage thing is. So this is easier to understand. It's calculated about 9 stings per pound of weight. So 150 pounds person might die if they got stung 1,350 times. That's a lot. So like you'd have to so bottom line is, unless you like really just fall into something, which does happen, by the way. In 2022, this article says an Ohio man suffered 20,000 bee stings when cutting tree branches. That's a lot. So, but it does take an enormous amount of bee stings to actually fall victim to the bee, which, by the way, just seems like a bad way to go. Like,
oh, yeah, it can't be fun, man.
Yeah, that's not fun. And also, it's like, so how'd you pass? A bee, or a lot of them. Got attacked by bees. Like, just those things, like, I feel like you should be able to win that battle.
Yeah, Brent, but then when you say, it was the African killer bees got him. It was the murder hornets. Now it's like, makes sense, right?
It gives it a little more clout.
Brent, like, if you're at the funeral and My Girl is like, a bunch of bumblebees got him. Yeah, like, that's that's not a movie.
Yeah, good point.
That's a comedy.
Good point.
You know what I'm saying? But when you say African killer bees, it's like, it makes sense. I mean, I'm curious, like, listen, we talked about the murder hornets back in 22, whenever it was. I'm curious to see what's going to happen now, though. I mean, are they going to continue to migrate north? Is Trump going to put tariffs on Brazil because of it? Like, a lot of things can happen, Brent. So I'm definitely going to stay tuned here to see.
All right, one last thing, and this isn't to scare you, but like I figured this story when I clicked on it was, all right, whatever, it's across the South. And then I get to this part, the end of the article, and this is what it says. 13 states have reported the Africanized honeybees. In the South, southern Florida has the highest numbers, from Tampa to Orlando to Daytona. South of that, a large percentage of the feral bee population are of African descent. North of that, we don't have much. So they've been reported in Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, and Mississippi, although to your point, because of more warming, they said in the coming years they could get as far north as places like Oregon.
Yeah.
So how about that? There
Yeah,
you go.
crazy,
That's
man.
your bee lesson here this summer on the Brent Austen Show, the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. We had
No one
murder
else is
hornets.
doing it, Brent. Nobody else is doing it like us.
Nobody does it. I mean, and I've just become fascinated with bees over the last few years. Every time I see an article or a story, and I think my bee knowledge has grown more than any other bit of knowledge I have over the last 5 or 6 years in any topic.
Yeah. Well, man, it's gonna keep on growing because I'm proud to report, and this is more of a shout out to my mom. But my grandfather passed away a couple of years ago, and he was the big bee guy. A bunch of his friends who were also beekeepers got in touch with my mom basically, and kind of showed her some things of how to maintain the bees and help them out and everything. So my mom is kind of carrying on the tradition now, and she's maintained every single bee box that we have on my great grandfather's land. So my mom's crushing the bee game right now, man. I'm super proud of her for doing it.
Yeah, I heard you say that. I thought that was a thing. And so she enjoying that? Like, was she wasn't into it at all? Like when your grandfather was doing it, or was she a little bit into it?
I mean, it's crazy. Like we were all into it, but then like you would see my grandpa, and like because he was so old school, he didn't wear like the bee suit. Like he would just wear like his overalls and like a flannel shirt, and it's like, well, no, I'm not doing that. So it's like we kind of let him just do his own thing. Like we were always interested, and he'd always show us, but like every time like we would kind of like go watch the bee boxes, we're not wearing the proper bee attire. So I would be excited, but also be a little leery about it. But my mom does wear like the proper beekeeping uniform, so she doesn't get stung and everything. But yeah, she's doing great, man. And yeah, I couldn't be more proud of her. And I think she wants to pass it down to me one day. And I kind of know the gist of it, but I'm always willing to learn. So the next time I go home to Wisconsin, I'm sure I'll probably get a little crash course in beekeeping.
So when you did it though, like when you've been back there, have you ever had the beekeeper like outfit on?
I've never worn a beekeeper outfit. I know my grandfather, I've seen him a couple times. And this was more like when people would call him to try to like extract bees out of their house, or to try to move the bees. Then he would put like the outfit on just because he wasn't really like he had this whole theory of like if they were his bees, like they knew who he was, so it was all good. And we're talking 100,000 bees, so that's a lot of but like that was his whole theory. And to be fair, man, he never really got stung, so he must have been onto something. Do
you know if there's another animal or insect or whatever that is as intricate as the bee? Like, is a spider, like if you really deep dive on like a spider, like is there a lot to a spider, or is there a lot to I don't know, like an elephant?
It reminds me of, Brent, just because of the way that they colonized, the way that like there's different workers and drones. I would say ants.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. That's probably a good
close
one.
to that. And keep in mind, this is me just speaking from having seen the movie Ants and then having seen the movie A Bug's Life. But I assume like there's some accurate things in those movies that are true.
No, that's a good call, actually. And they actually have some similarities to the bee where they work together, right? And so, it's just amazing what they can lift together, like an ant. It's unbelievable. They die a lot, pretty quick life, because you just accidentally step on them, or you purposely do. And then they also have the red ants, which those things suck. So, like, you got your murder hornet kind of category of the ant species.
Yeah.
So
you're absolutely right. It's a good call.
I bet you're right. Like there's probably a deep dive. And not only that, Ants Marching with Dave Matthews Band, B movie. I mean, we got some pop culture, some things relatable.
I had to find a way to throw Dave Matthews into it, man. I love it. And it's not even a Friday, Brent. I respect it.
It is the end of June, though.
It is. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Every day's a Friday this time of year. Hey, you're not coming home at all. Are you going right to like Nashville when you end up fighting?
So I'm be coming home July 3rd. So I'll be home for the 4th of July. I'm not gonna shoot my hands off with any fireworks.
Please don't.
Even though, because my son Ronan. Well, I mean, I would say I FaceTime every single day, but I haven't seen him in a minute. And, if you remember last year for the 4th of July, we kind of got hooked up a little bit. I go to this fireworks tent. They, basically knew who I was, and they said, "Hey, man, all the fireworks you want if you give us a shout out on Instagram." And you would have thought that Ronan was like at Toys R Us with like that whole thing. So yeah, we got our money's worth. We still have some left over, but he wants to go shopping again and get some new ones. So probably a lot of bottle rockets. I think those are legal. Probably a lot of Roman candles. Those are probably legal as well. So yeah, we're gonna be having some fun.
All right. You better be careful during that time, but I know he's looking forward to that. In the meantime, Steven just jumps in and says, bull ants suck. I don't really know what a bull ant is, but now I just look it up, and it's also called a Myrmecia periformis.
Okay, bull ant's a lot better. I like that name
bull
better.
Ant, I know now why they said bull ant. Here's why: they're painful sting, aggressive, and they're big. I don't know how big, but they're big. Hold on, I got to get a quick little image of this in my mind. Yeah, it looks kind of nasty. At least bees are better looking than like an ant, though.
Yeah,
ants are kind of gross looking.
I mean, it's probably the biggest comparison, right? Because kids had ant farms growing up, right? And people are beekeepers. But like, and let's be honest here. Like, I don't want to hate on ants or anything. Like, let them do their thing. Are they really contributing to anything though? Like,
yeah, because you said the bees really contribute to
bees are making the world go round, Brent.
Yeah.
All our produce, everything comes from bees. What are ants bringing to the table?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. But now I'll probably go down a rabbit hole on that tomorrow or later tonight.
Keeping exterminators in business. That's about it.
All right, let's exterminate this show before we head to our final break. Have a good one. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Brent Austen Show. Austin from South Florida training for his upcoming UFC fight in a few weeks. And we're back at it tomorrow. We are going to continue to highlight different charities this week. We'll have some of our Dream 18 charities the next couple of days, St. Michael's Soldiers and also North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. So look forward to that. We'll also have some more information about our Dream 18 golf tournament coming up in September 22nd at the Golf Club out Southampton. And one other thing to keep an eye on from a programming note, we want to at least get you excited about this new series we have in July called Storytellers of the 904. We're finishing up recording most of these. I got one more to do this week. It's really been a lot of fun. So hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as I have and we have as we've been doing that. But it will debut in the middle of July. Look forward to like July 14th. It won't be in the middle of our show. It'll be something on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network. Probably can find it in podcast form, which will be a good way to listen to it as well. But people that you know and their stories of the last couple of decades or few decades in the city of Jacksonville, hence the name, Storytellers of the 904. That is coming soon, and we'll continue to tell you more about it over the next couple of days and weeks. Have a good Tuesday, everybody. Stay cool, and we're back at it in the morning, 10 a.m., right here on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network. We'll see you on TV tonight, CBS 47 and Fox 30. Welcome inside the Armor Guard Exterior and Gutter Helmet Showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax Pal.
The Fleet continues its summer swing with the Jacksonville Armada men's and women's teams finding success on the pitch so far in 2025. The girls in blue find themselves in the thick of a three-way battle for the Sunshine Conference crown with an undefeated mark at home. They wrap up the schedule with a pair of Friday night showdowns. As for the boys in blue, they remain unbeaten this summer and top the table in their conference, with crucial road games still to come down the stretch against Naples and New Orleans, after a final home game versus FC Florida. All those matches are at Edward Waters University, and you can watch them live on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University. Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Will Olive, Mandarin High School. Go Stangs.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oak Leaf High School.
Tony Mazzio, Stanwood High School, class of 2002. Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jax team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School. Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
Sun's out, suits out. That's right, it's summertime in Florida, which means it's time to say goodbye to bulking season and hello to shredding season. But if you're like me, you're having a hard time sculpting and shaping those final pounds. That is until I came and saw my friends over at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Right now, everyone is hopping on the Evolve X train, and the only destination is finding your perfect summer body. The technology uses electrical muscle stimulation and radio frequency energy to cause your muscles to contract, all while heating up those deep layers of your skin and tissue to produce collagen and reduce fat. It's like doing 1,000 sit-ups in 30 minutes. No pain, no needles, just results, right? That's right. So leave those winter layers back at the station and come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.